Journalism enables people to be well informed. It's documenting history. It's an extraordinary way for people to be connected with their community.
What happens in the world affects us. What happens in our community affects us. What happens in the province affects us. And we get to be the eyes and ears and tell the stories. There are many stories that need to be told, and those things add value to our life.
It's neat to know that so many people are relying on me. It makes you strive for perfection, or it makes you strive for accuracy.
The journalism program here at St. Clair College is a convergence journalism program. Convergence means the merging together of print, radio, and television, and the web, and putting all different stories into 3 or 4 different platforms.
I can go out now and I can understand how to write a print. I know how to do social media. I can shoot a video. So you start to trust yourself and to use your journalistic skills.
In 21st century newsrooms, journalists have to be able to do it all.
We ask every one of our reporters to tell stories in multiple ways.
There's a different style of writing for print than there is for radio, than there is for television. And it's really important that the information gets out that is true to those platforms.
We are one of the few, if not the only, program that is actually taking students to a live broadcast and giving them that opportunity and that experience.
I want to be a journalist because I think I like to listen other stories.
午间好，这里是媒体综合新闻节目，我是谭一丹，欢迎收看。
I find that the students that come out of St. Clair College are already at or above where some of our broadcast employees have been over the last several years.
I feel that I made the greatest decision I could by choosing this program because I have learned so much, and I think that I can only grow from here.
I would hands down recommend the program to someone considering it. I would recommend it to someone that's not even considering it. They teach you such a vast array of different skills, different platforms, different things that you could really apply to so many different careers.
Based on literally hundreds of interns I've seen over the years, St. Clair students are better prepared to go into the work environment in media than most students coming out of colleges and universities across North America.
I think it's that very comprehensive curriculum that we have that creates converged journalists that sets this journalism school apart.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to tonight's coverage of the National Basketball League of Canada at the beautiful WFCU Centre for tonight's coverage of Windsor Express Basketball on the Windsor Express Network.
Anderson, the catch and shoot. He misses it. The putback by Batillo.
Projected second chance. Count it, and the foul. Tate will go to the line to shoot for one on the N1 play.
This kid will not lay down for anybody. The game, we welcome you to this Wednesday night battle. We welcome you to the WFCU Center. We welcome you live to the WFCU Center.
Windsor Express Basketball on the Windsor Express Network.
And Windsor basketball rings in 2019 as we welcome you to the WFCU Center in the Rose City, Windsor, Ontario, for tonight's NBL Canada battle. Tonight, Moncton Magic 12-4, Windsor Express 4-7. Hi again, everybody. Hope the new year treated you really well. This is Aaron Sanders. That's JP, Justin Prince. Pleasure to have you along for the ride. JP, we begin with the story. How many times have we heard about the Moncton Magic in the past few weeks? Not only they broke plenty of records throughout the way, they have the second best start in franchise history and in the league history, but they've gone a little bit of a slump. Lost 4 of their last 6, but no loss was painful than the one over in London last night. A tough overtime loss, but it was a good game to say the least.
Yeah, a game that could have went either way, really, for either side, but a game where Moncton knew that they had to shoot the ball better. Joe Salerno said it himself out this afternoon prior to today's game to us that they needed to make the open shots in that kind of a game. And who knows, have that go that way, have calls go their way, we might be talking about them having an even stronger start. But for tonight, they still got some question marks now in this road trip, especially with attrition now and injury starting to set in, Eric.
Absolutely. Yesterday, a scary moment. Eddie Asamoah fell down, and it was a scary moment for everybody. Ended up with 7 stitches on his upper list, going under a concussion protocol as we speak. So first off, they lose Shaheed Carson and Doug Herring Jr. as they play overseas, and now Eddie Asamoah. But you got to look at the gain. They gained a big figure today in Richard Ormardi.
Yes, that was unexpected today to see that signing after what happened last night. Of course, talking to Joe Salerno, he had talked about how this team was down now. Both their power forwards with Billy White on IR, and Asamoah now currently being reevaluated when they get done the road trip. Now with Richard Ormardi going to be coming in after being signed this morning from Toronto, as confirmed first by Scott Squires and confirmed to us as well. So this is going to be a guy that can if he's on his game, can shoot the ball well. He can be a consistent shooter when he's in a rhythm. He's also a pretty good defender and has NBA G League experience. The question is, what kind of Ormardi do they get tonight with just experience from shoot-around and practice tonight heading into this evening's matchup here with the Magic?
You know, it's quite interesting. His first game in a Moncton Magic uniform is against his former team. Played with a few games with the Windsor Express at the beginning of the season, got released, and now he's switching the red and black duds for black and white ones.
Yeah, I find it interesting, too, that this is his first game against what is his former team. I wouldn't be surprised to see him try and take over this game when he comes off the bench tonight. Someone that, if he can get in the rhythm, he can do so. If he's off tonight, he might bring down Moncton with them. We'll have to see how they perform tonight with Ormardi and what kind of Ormardi shows up at the WSU Center.
And it's also a matter of seeing how the Windsor Express responds to this, because they're coming off the coattails of their first back-to-back wins after winning against London last week and before all that. So it's going to be interesting to see how consistency plays out, because this is a challenging game for them, to say the least.
Yeah, this is a team, Windsor, that has been struggling for most of the season with consistency. They did so, had consistency, their best played game overall this season last time they're at the WSU Center. The thing is, this is a much different team, a bigger test game, in my opinion, because of the talent that is on this Magic squad. It's going to be difficult to try and keep the big men in check. It's going to be difficult to try and score, because Moncton knows that Windsor has a lot of interior scores, Aaron Tadil, that they have on the roster. So it's going to be a tough matchup for them to try and make sure they get things together conditioning-wise and consistency-wise, because if they struggle from the get-go scoring-wise, Moncton could probably put you down in a 30-point deficit at the end of 12 minutes.
You know, the one thing that Moncton is known for is getting everybody involved with the ball. It all starts with the guards, of course, and then you dish it right into the forwards. But I think when it comes to the Windsor Express, I think they're evenly matched, because if you look at the firepower from the bench, they could really make or break the game right there, as we see Nick Evans, former Express player, right there now playing for the Moncton Magic. But getting back to the bench, it's one of the toughest, because it all starts with DeAndre Thomas, Angelo Griffiths, and of course the guard that's been shining lately, Chris Jones.
Yes, indeed. Glad you brought that up, because since the team made their changes last month, the end of last month, things have gotten better for the Express in terms of, I think, how their team flows and how the personnel is working out chemistry-wise. Because they, especially Chris Jones, he's a spark plug for this team. He can lead you on offense off the bench. He can score at will inside, and he can throw no-look passes to anywhere on the floor, to any sort of spot. It's just about making sure his teammates know those passes are coming and to limit the turnovers and frustration. Because if the emotions come into play and the fouls build up in the game, that could be trouble. But Chris Jones, along with Griffith, along with DeAndre Thomas, a throwing bench for the Windsor Express. The question is, can they keep it up tonight with this kind of a defensive team and a stacked team in Moncton?
And another question we got to add into, how will the foul trouble come into play? Because both of these clubs are usually known for aggressive play, and Both of these clubs have a couple of players that are in foul trouble, so we'll take that into the keys of the game. What else do you have to keep in mind if you're both Joe Salerno and Bill Jones tonight?
I think right now you have to make your open shots, I think, for both sides. Joe Salerno knows he missed a lot of opportunities to do so, especially with guys like Corey Allman going 0 for 6 from the outside last night. They can't afford to do that again tonight. So they got to find a way to make those open shots as well. To limit the foul trouble, they got to play hard defense. He talked about how Bill Jones is, of course, someone each time he plays a coach team by him, that's a tough team, a hard-fighting team. Expect that tonight, and expect a lot of personal fouls potentially. So I expect maybe to try and spread out the defense a little bit, try and show your hands and make sure there's contact for both sides. Lastly, though, with Windsor, I think with Windsor at least, it's going to come down to can they do the proper adjustments? Because this is a team with just a couple solid big men in terms of center position. There's a lot of power forwards and small forwards or small ball lineups that Windsor can play tonight. Can they utilize those lineups properly? Can Moncton, meanwhile, have guys like Duke Monday score at will tonight? Will Marty step up? Who's going to score? That's going to be the question.
Moncton's looking to stop a losing Funk. Meanwhile, Wizards trying to win 3 in a row. So we're going to see who's going to give and who's going to win here tonight between the Moncton Magic and the Windsor Express. So that's the story for you. We're going to pause for a couple of these messages, and when we come back, we'll have the starting lineups and the introduction of tonight's game. Windsor Express basketball is brought to you by Booster Juice.
So public relations is like being a bridge between an organization and their public. As this public relations expert, you are a liaison, so you have to connect the brand or the business or the company with their public in such a way that the public responds to them in a positive manner. So the advantages of taking public relations at St. Clair College is that we have access to the Mediaplex. Now the Mediaplex offers us a converged education. It's one of 3 in the world and the only one in Canada. What that means is that we're taught in film, broadcast, radio, there's graphic design, we do event planning, we write all sorts of press releases, we work in tandem with the journalism club. So at the end of everything, you can communicate any professional message across any medium. So what do you think about public relations?
Welcome back to the Windsor Express Basketball Network presented by Booster Juice. The Moncton Magic, best team in the league, going up against the Windsor Express, a team that looks to be surging in good motions. They won back-to-back games. They look to make it 3 in a row, while Moncton don't want to become losers of 5 of their last 7. We're set to go for the national anthem and the starting lines for tonight's game. Let's turn it over to the PA announcer of the Windsor Express, Mark Knight.
tonight's national anthem will be performed by Stephanie B. Joining Stephanie in center court carrying the Canadian flag is Brendan Rod from BMR Windsor Building Center, who is our father of the game. The Windsor Express encouraged J.K. Printing would like to acknowledge and show our appreciation to our dedicated fathers all season long by highlighting someone new each game. Thanks to Brendan and Curtis J.K. Printing.
Stephanie V singing the national anthem. Really great job by her. And now for the ceremonial ball toss, and we'll get to the starting lineups.
Larry is the president of the Windsor Essex Chapter 7 of Carter, the All Saints Church parishioner and Windsor's 2012 Senior of the Year. And now let's introduce the starting lineup for the visiting Moncton Magic, presented by Tourism Windsor Essex, Peely Island. And the starting five include number 3, Corey Allman, number 5, Denzel Taylor, number 15, Duke Lundy, number 22, Wayne McCullough, and number 25, Nick Evans. The head coach of Moncton is Joe Salerno. Please welcome to the floor your Windsor Express dancers. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the track has been lined, and let's meet the starting lineup for your two-time NBL Canada champions, Windsor Express, presented by Quality Inn Suites. Let's get started with number 1, Juan Patillo.
So there's the starting lineup for both clubs. Once again for the Magic, Corey Allman will start with Denzel Taylor, Wayne McCulloch, Duke Mondi, and Nick Evans, the big man in the middle. For the Windsor Express, their usual starting lineup: Juan Patillo, Tyrell Tate, Boris Wormley, Luke Cochran, and Ryan Anderson. And once again, JP, it's quite interesting that we're seeing Luke Cochran starting the last few games, because remember, he was on the IR for a couple of games due to an ankle injury, but based off his performance in the last little while, it's safe to say not only he's got a challenge in his hands, but he's been performing real well over in the front court.
He absolutely has been playing very well in the front court. I think he has been one of those players, again, Windsor has needed to step up in this kind of a situation. Gives them the size that they've been needing for part of the roster on the season. Gives them some pretty good production shooting from the field, and a really good rebounder to boot once he gets things going and gets the minutes together. We'll see if he can do so again tonight.
You see the Moncton Magic, they're wearing their Hub City uniforms tonight. So they'll be wearing gray and black all over. And the Windsor Express will be wearing their traditional red and black home jerseys. The officials for tonight's game: Tim Cook, Mike Hardy, and Rob Caparici. Once again, Moncton Magic, 12-4 record, the best in the league. Windsor Express, 4-7. They're coming off of back-to-back victories. They won against London, 108-100 last Friday. And a few nights before that, before Christmas break, they beat the Island Storm 118-90. Moncton Magic coming off a heartbreaking overtime loss in London against the Lightning last night. A lot to say about that game, but this is where it's at right now. The tip-off is controlled by Windsor, and we're underway here at the WFCU Center. Glad you're joining us here for National Basketball League of Canada basketball action. Wormley up top, over to Patillo near the elbow. Yes.
A nice little play to start things off tonight. Going right to Patillo, right where his hot spot is, in with the mid-range jump shot. Already 2-0 on the first shot.
He had some troubles with his bread and butter the last couple of games, but that might be a good omen if he gets a shot off like that. 10 on the shot clock. Evans against Cochran. And Patillo will pick up the rebound. Here's Anderson, catch and shoot. It goes.
And that was a nice little dribble move to step on back away from McCullough to get enough separation to put up the shot. Great contested three by Anderson.
5 quick points for the Express as we're just underway here in Windsor. This is Corey Allman. He's known for lighting it up from beyond the arc. Over to Duke Mondi, one of the new acquisitions for the Moncton Magic. Good cut inside, but it gets taken away. Right over there is Nick Evans, but he stepped on the line.
And that play was just falling apart there. I'm surprised it found its way towards the corner. But either way, shot clock violation. Still, Moncton a bit ice cold offensively to start.
And keep in mind, Moncton had their fits when it comes to the shooting last night. Hopefully they don't repeat that, because, again, this was the team at the time that had the best field goal percentage and the steals. Quick three from Cochran. It doesn't go this time. Fight for the ball, retained. It will be a jump ball, and it will go to Moncton.
And some good hustle to try and track that down from Patillo, but possession arrow, of course, going the other direction. Clear-cut possession arrow and already off to a bit of a physical start. Off to a quick pace start for both sides shot-wise.
1 of 3 games going on here in the league tonight. And as you can see, the Windsor Express are already at a hot start. 5-0, 10:28 remaining in the opening frame. Here's Evans near the three-point line. He's guarded by Cochran. The pass inside gets thwarted. Patillo will come up with it. Here comes the Express with numbers. Patillo, the drive, the bucket.
And not a smart pass, and a smart defensive read from the Express leads to the quick point. A challenging layup inside of traffic, too.
Patillo has 4 so far. Here's Evans. Misses it, gets his own rebound, and he'll get fouled. They'll be on Ryan Anderson, his first and the team's first foul of the game.
And that looked pretty clear-cut in terms of the foul right on the right arm, right elbow area as he went up for the layup. And now chance for Moncton to finally break the cold spell in terms of offense in the first couple minutes.
And Nick Evans will go off to the line, 58% from the field, from the free throws rather. And it's quite interesting. This is Nick Evans' homecoming, if you will, because the last time he played in the NBLC, JP, he played with the Windsor Express with Bill Jones, and his teammate
in the TBL, DeAndre Thomas.
A little bit of a reunion, really, and a lot of high spirits when talking with him and some of the other members of the Express before shoot-arounds today. Hey, for sure.
One of the most improved players in the league. He's a veteran as Anderson will miss the three. Cochran will fight for the rebound. He's double-teamed. Good pass inside the Tate, and he'll get fouled. It will be on Evans. Meanwhile, we talk about Evans being one of the most improved players in the last few years. He picks up the foul. That's been one of his problems in the last little while.
Yeah, that's one of the main things. While Joe Salerno, of course, had talked to us a little bit about Evans, saying how much he's improved really defensively, especially this season. That's one of the main things if you're in foul trouble, you can't stay on the floor and be as efficient as you can. And that was something that was an issue when he was with the Express before. That was an issue in some of his other stops in the NBLC where he got into foul trouble or got technical issues at the time. But he's gotten somewhat better over time in terms of the latter of the two.
Do you think it's all based on the chemistry that he and Joe Salerno has? Because keep this in mind, he's one of the few players left in the league that played in the then Summerside Storm days. And it's hard to believe that he's one of the few players remaining from those Summerside days.
And Joe Salerno actually had found him 7 years ago. We talked about it back in the gym in Tennessee before he went off to the NBLC about 7 years ago. And that's where some of the connection, I think, comes between him and Joe Salerno's system that's helping him so much here in Moncton.
Good ball movement, but Moncton retains the rebound. 9-1 is the score. 3 minutes into this game. Evans corner. Allman outside. McCulloch will pull up, and it goes.
And a good swinging the ball outside there to stretch the defense right to the wide open perimeter shot. And now Moncton just down by 5.
Good ball movement around the world. As Anderson has it now, missed assignment, and here comes the magic as Mondi will pull up for the teardrop.
Bit of an awkward play there. Quick steal and an awkward layup inside. I think maybe he thought he maybe got a bit of a push to draw a whistle. Still was able to put up the shot and bring to 1 possession game.
Scoring-wise, this game has overtones of last night's game because you've seen it in the first few minutes. It was just back and forth, but we've seen here the only difference was it took a little while for Moncton to get into a shooting groove as that ball will go out of bounds.
Oh, and we got trouble.
And we have confrontations. Denzel Taylor and Juan Patillo. Safe to say those two don't mince words, but early on into this game, you knew Moncton was going to be aggressive. They're fighting here for a vengeance. The Express, they had a couple of days off, so it's a matter of who wants it more.
And I'm not sure what that was all about.
It appears to be the referees are giving the technical foul sign. Let's listen in.
Yeah, curious the official call here.
Moncton foul number 5, Denzel Taylor, his first, team second. Double technical. Fouls called on number 5, Moncton, and number 1, Windsor.
So foul on Denzel Taylor, and he picks up another foul off the technical, and Juan Patillo will get a technical as well. So those two technicals will offset, and the Express will get the ball back.
Well, you got to keep your emotions in check either way, especially with a game like last night.
Cochran can't get that shot to go, and once again, I'll go off of what you said, too. I mean, Moncton is aggressive. Windsor is aggressive. We know that, too, based off the foul trouble. But you don't want to get chippy early on in this one.
No, you do not.
McCulloch, the 3. Back-to-back triples for Wayne McCulloch. And it's now a tie game at 9.
And he was approaching a possible game-time decision, too, with his ankle and shoot-around. But he's been looking really good in terms of how he's been playing on the floor, especially on the perimeter so far in this matchup.
And keep in mind, if it wasn't for McCulloch, they wouldn't have gone to overtime last night. He knocked down a clutch triple with few seconds to go, and he ended up scoring 18 points, 7 rebounds, 3 steals, and 2 assists in 42 minutes. DeAndre Thomas comes in and makes an impact immediately with the follow-away jumper.
And Thomas continuing to build on some of the momentum from the last couple of games, continuing to improve his high post game from the fadeaway post spin.
Evans versus Thomas. And Patillo will pick up the rebound. Once again, that's going to be a good matchup to see. Former teammates. As DeAndre Thomas will now have the ball. Both of these players have played for not only the Albany Patroons a year ago in the TBL, but also played for the Windsor Express in 2016-17. Mondi looking to drive. It will be a foul on Terrell Tate.
And getting to Thomas, your point on Thomas, I should say, we talked about this a bit before in December, where he's been probably having his best season overall-wise as a member of the Express ever, really. Because not only has he always, of course, been a physical player inside and had that little post hook, he's been working the post spin and forcing steals, my goodness.
Well, this is why they say you got to keep your eyes on the ball. But Moncton will get the ball back, and Horace Wormley will get his first foul of the evening.
You look down for 1 second, and all of a sudden, pretty physical contact there for the foul.
You take a look. The Magic knocks down their first free throw. This is Corey Allman. A lot of people call him the telephone man because he could warm up from long range. So when he pulls out that telephone signal of his, he's not only making a collect call for everybody to see, but he's making a call on the court. And that's why he's a fan favorite over to Moncton as he knocks down both free throws. Quick foul outside. It will be on DeAndre Thomas off the ball.
Yeah, set too hard of a screen, moving screen really, and that's going to be a clear-cut foul and off the other direction. And already, both sides are building up the fouls already, 5 and 3 respectively for the team fouls.
The Express, 1 more foul to give, and the Magic 3 more fouls to give as Mundy breaks through the double team. Evans hits the deck and it will turn the ball over.
And I'm surprised that wasn't a reach in from behind there. Lost his footing, tried to toss it back, and I think might have thought that may have been able to draw him at least a reach-in foul. Instead, it's Windsor Express basketball.
I agree, and you see Nick Evans on the other end. Oh, look how that's an offensive foul. DeAndre just put too much muscle on him, and Nick Evans, he gets his just due, if you will.
I think that's part make-up foul, make-up callback, part just placed his footing properly, placed his feet properly, I should say, inside the restricted zone and kept them planted there to draw the charge.
And DeAndre Thomas picks up 2 fouls already, so he will have a seat, and Luke Cochran will come back in immediately as this game is a 1-point Express lead. And we have another foul. So early on, things are getting chippy here.
And now we're going back the other direction here. This one, I think, is an error offensive foul down low. Yeah, Evans, a foul right on back, and now he's got to keep himself in check because he's got to go to the bench.
And Joe Salermo, you see there, he's trying to calm him down. Keep in mind, Nick Evans was in foul trouble last night. One of the vital parts of the Moncton Magic this year, leading the league in blocks.
A very strong defensive team, and you're seeing some of these defensive assignments knowing that if they leave any space for Windsor, they'll try and take advantage inside the paint.
Here's Cochran. He'll miss the 3. Salermo wanted to travel on that, but he'll get the ball regardless. The ball movement works out again as the Magic take their first lead of the afternoon. As Corey Allman will ring it up. There's a 3 for you for the folks who are watching at the viewing party in Moncton, New Brunswick, as Terrell Tate gets the easy finger roll.
And that looked like a bad defensive switch there, defensive assignment. No one was ready for Tate to just drive into the lane. No man inside the paint to stop that.
Quick handoff, Allman again. He can't ring it up. Patillo tries to save the ball, but can't. He'll stay with Moncton. And I believe that's going to take us into our media timeout, and it will. Moncton Magic 14, Windsor Express 13. We're right back.
I want to understand why.
I want this to be perfect.
I want to be inspired.
I want to be challenged.
No matter the reason, our passion to learn brought us here.
Halfway into this game, and JP, this game has gone chippy. I mean, this is quite different from what we've seen from London and Moncton last night, but when it comes to both of these clubs, one thing is foul trouble, and we put an emphasis on that on the pregame. You're seeing that take effect immediately.
Yeah, both teams already in foul trouble. You got DeAndre Thomas with 2 fouls. You got Nick Evans with 2 fouls. You got Juan Patillo with a technical, no official personal fouls, but already a bunch of fouls already in this game. Moncton already 1 foul away from getting into the bonus for the rest of the first quarter. You gotta play with your heads here in this point. There's just been too many reach-ins, too many silly fouls called. I mean, too many fouls drawn, I should say, that have not really helped out Windsor whatsoever, and have now played into Moncton's hands and can keep them in this game the way the shooting has gone so far tonight.
I agree, both of these clubs have to calm down. We're only halfway into the first quarter. And Moncton will get the inbounds pass. 5:12 remaining. Here's Allman the jumper. And Wormley with a rebound. Cochran loses control. He'll hit the deck. And Moncton will get the ball back. Once again, ill-advised pass because Cochran was not ready for it.
I don't understand how you're not even ready for that, knowing that there's defensive pressure, but at the same time, you gotta know what's going to happen there with your teammates. That is a very silly turnover, and that's how this game has transitioned. A lot of miscommunication on both ends of the floor from both teams. Somebody needs to wake up.
And somebody that I think could wake up is on the court right now for the first time in a Moncton Magic uniform. Richard Marty. He has the ball against his former team. And it will be a shot clock violation.
And a good double team. Shot clock was reset to 14 via the procedure for that. And that ended up causing enough pressure to where Marty was not able to look up at the clock, felt pressure from 2-3 different Express players, and forced the turnover to bring the ball back the other direction.
So Richard Marty's first touch with the ball for Moncton does not go as planned, as the Express will get the ball back. Quick handoff to Wormley. Chris Jones is in the game. Jones, the jumper, no good. And the rebound by Mundy.
Ill-advised shot, could have made an extra pass potentially there. Just when a taller defender up in your face, it's going to be harder to get a proper jump shot up.
Here's the J, it's no good for Mundy. Marty picks it right back up. The shot is good.
And Windsor's just not defending Allman, it seems, right now. They're not prepared for three-point attempts. That's the third shot so far tonight that Allman's been left wide open on an extra pass.
Ring it up for Allman as he gives the Magic a 4-point lead. Cross-court pass, Jones. Jones fakes around, gets the foul, and he'll head to the line.
Yeah, talk about Chris Jones, someone that has been one of the impact players, really, for the Express since joining the roster. Small sample size, of course. But we're talking about this, how much of an impact he's been off the bench. 19 points per game in the few games so far during the home stint for the Windsor Express. Shooting so far 62%, 80% for the stripe for the former Louisville Cardinal, and someone that really was given a big-time shot here in terms of an opportunity, I should really say, with the Windsor Express to get his career jump-started in the professional level.
You know, he compliments Horace Wormley at the second guard position real well. Coming up as backcourt guard, he's been doing real good in a handful of games. Gentray Thomas comes in from Moncton, and Angelo Griffiths comes in for Windsor. Here's Allman. Ring it up.
And he's unconscious outside. Again, Windsor played much better on the outside for Allman, but they just don't have the right men to match up with him, it seems.
Anderson with the ball. Anderson over to Patillo from top of the key, and it goes. That's 6-4-1 as he leads the scoring for the Express right now. 3 minutes to go here, a 3-point Moncton lead. The drive, that basket won't count, and it will be a foul.
Yeah, I think Moncton wanted a goaltend there, but that was after the whistle, but still.
Express foul number 25, Luke Cochran.
And that just puts them in the bonus. I have to say, after that media timeout, just 1 foul in 3 minutes, bit much more improved for Windsor. While they may be allowing less, may not be contesting as much as in leaving them more space to shoot, if you try and smother the ball, that's where a lot of the fouls can come in, where officials might not be able to see, okay, are you touching this player? Or you end up touching the player while trying to go for a block or try and strip the ball away.
Anthony Otley Jr. comes into the game after all that. And keep in mind, he had his best game of the season last year against this very Moncton Magic team. He picked up a double-double in his troubles, 12 points and 10 rebounds in a 15-point loss, but that was last year. Now he's into the game. Jones driving right down the aisle. Here's Otley Jr. Pump fakes, pumps twice, and it will travel.
And now it looks like he's got to calm down here.
And you can hear the bench saying, keep playing, you got to play on. That's have to be on the mindset of the Express, because once again, more or less, they usually get their emotions get the best of them.
The thing is, with the double pump, he hopped off the floor. That's why there's the travel. Look at this.
Quick pick away. Here's Jones.
And a great pick away. One of the examples tried to talk about during the pregame. He can strip the ball away and is really good on on-ball defense, especially trying to get steals and lead the fast break.
Altman gets the pick. He'll pass it right on down. And a quick three. It's good. This time down the line was Isaiah Tate. The Marlboro, Maryland product. Jones over to Patillo. Patillo sizes up. Jones from downtown misses it.
And Jones was near unconscious from deep last game, trying to test it out there, but just too much space, I think, that time.
Allman, Amarty, can't send it home. Ryan with the rebound. No look pass to Otley Jr. He blows it.
And it looked like a little too quick on the pass.
Euro by Amarty. He'll get fouled. You have one side that wanted to travel, but the other side will draw the foul.
Yeah, that's already his second, and we talked about some foul trouble. Thomas already fouled a few times this season. Anderson has also been in foul trouble many times this season, I should say. And now you have two of your impact players that are already in foul trouble off the bench. You already have to go to Daniel Dooley. And now it's continuing to build more and more up. You have to be more cautious in this kind of a game, I think.
Daniel Dooley, we talked many games before about how he was still dealing with the ankle issue, saying Scott Newman saying 85% there, but in his last handful of games, he honestly looks more than 85%.
He's looking more and more confident here, and watch him on the perimeter if he gets this pass.
Patillo, high arcing shot, and the bank is open for Patillo on this Friday night.
Who needs to make a pass when you have the confidence you have, like Patillo has had so many years in the MBLC from mid-range?
Under a minute to go here. Moncton up 5. Gentry Thomas up, and he'll get fouled. So he'll go off to shoot a pair of free throws.
Yeah, now this is where Dooley comes in terms of the fouls, I should say. But it looks like now because of the shorter bench and the injury situations, unfortunately, with Moncton going on, looks like they're going to be forced to play Nick Evans here for the next at least 52 seconds and risk having 3 fouls in 12 minutes.
Absolutely. You got to keep in mind, Nick Evans has 2 fouls, so he has to be careful. The bright side about Nick Evans coming in right now, he doesn't have to go up against DeAndre Thomas. And you know, when those two, considering what we've seen the last few minutes, when those two go at it, it just brings up the foul totals for the Express and the Magic.
Yes, it does. And plus, he's got a bit of a mismatch, I think, now. He looks like he might be matched up here with Otley Jr. in terms of defensive assignments here.
Well, Otley Jr., as the clock stays frozen, now it goes. He's got a big task ahead of him. Here's Angelo Griffiths. And he'll draw the foul. It was a good idea. He lost control of the ball, so he's able to get some contact right in.
Yeah, now Windsor, next foul they draw, they go into the bonus for the next 43 seconds.
So I'd say a Tate with another foul. As Jones over to Patillo. Can't knock it down. And Evans will pick up the board. 28-21 Moncton. Gentry misses the tray. Fight for the ball. Otley Jr. saves it. Here's Chris Jones.
The shot clock is off. I expect them to try to run this down until the final 8 seconds before they start the play.
That's right, Chris Jones getting instructions from Bill Jones, head coach. No relation. Jones drives, falls away, misses it, and there's a foul right before the buzzer went.
And this might actually bring Otley Jr. to the line.
And if that is the case, that's how the first quarter will end, at the free throw line. But the referees did blow the whistle before the 0-0.
Yeah, the reason I think they called the foul was they were battling for the rebound, and as they were battling for the rebound, Otley Jr. was kind of swatted at from one of the Moncton players from behind on the wrist. I think on the right wrist specifically, and that was what drawn the foul right at the buzzer. And now they're telling the Windsor Express players, get off the bench. You still have 2 free throws here before we end off this quarter. And they just put a 1/10 of a second left on the clock.
So Otley Jr. misses his first free throws. Keep in mind, too, he shoots 83% from the line, so that's a rare miss from him. Gentry Thomas with the foul. And he'll knock it down. And that'll close out the first quarter. So the score at the end of 1, Moncton 28, Windsor 22. We'll be back for the second quarter right after these messages.
It starts here, where Jamie lost 145 pounds and became a leader, inspiring others to get active. Where Cheryl didn't let her fear of water keep her kids from learning to swim. Where Valerie got fit after retiring, and at 90 years old, she's still dancing to the beat. Vitality, courage, transformation. A healthier you starts here. What will your story be? Join the YMCA today.
Welcome back to the WFCU Center. About to get things underway here in the second quarter. Before we do, let's take a quick look at the out-of-town scoreboards. 2 other games going on here tonight. The St. John's Edge travel over to the PEI area to play against the Island Storm. They're about to begin the fourth quarter with the Edge taking an 80-77 lead. And right into the second quarter, the Sudbury 5 playing host to the London Lightning again. And Sudbury is up 35-34 as you see our faces right here. Aaron Sanders, JP, Justin Prince with you. But I want to get back to the Sudbury 5 London Lightning thing. I know it's a little bit too early to say it's a rivalry, but considering how both these clubs have played in the last couple of games, you might as well assume this might be a rivalry.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, yeah, you can consider it at this point with how physical a lot of the games have been, how close every single game those matchups have been between those two teams. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see that for a rivalry to come, really, especially, of course, Logan Stutz coming from the Windsor Express organization beforehand and having that experience coming in, some of the players between the two organizations, and on top of that, the London aspect as well that you consider too. That could also be very close with those kind of players coming in. Could be a lot of different rivalries building up between those two teams, if that makes sense.
So keep in mind, both of these clubs are going through major turnovers, roster turnovers, if you will. Elliot Etherington, the new head coach of the London Lightning, he's fitting in real well, despite the record so far since him coaching. But once again, that record is not indicative of how the team is performing. I think a lot of broadcasters have said that about each and every team this year, but the London Lightning, they got a lot of youth. They'll find a way to get out of that funk. And the Sudbury 5 too, yeah, keep in mind, they are playing without Grandy Glaze now, so big shoes to fill as we begin the second quarter with Anthony Otley Jr. getting the deuce.
And those were some nice big moves inside from Otley Jr. Spin to the right, gave him enough separation in the restricted zone to make the layup.
Near side, Gentry Thomas. Tate breaks through, 6 on the shot clock. 1-on-1 against Dooley, he'll fire it, he can't bury it. And Otley Jr., my mistake, that's Angelo Griffiths with the rebound. DeAndre Thomas back into the game. He has 2 fouls as Griffiths knocks it down from the corner.
And that was a pretty decent shot. He's been continuing to get better and better as the season's gone on, from especially down the baseline for jump shots.
He averages 11 points per game, ended up with 8 of them in the last game here against London. Quick shot outside, it doesn't go for Gentry Thomas. It will go Windsor way. But keep in mind too, both Nick Evans and DeAndre Thomas is on the floor right now.
Yeah, and I think both of them have to be careful here that they don't get too physical battling in the post here, and don't want to draw fouls here already matched up between each other for this offensive set.
Here's Jones into Thomas. Good look inside to Griffiths. He puts it up and in. And that was a nifty look.
Nifty look and a tough layup too. Had contact too. Coming from behind on the reverse layup. A heck of a challenging shot.
They tie the game at 28, but not before Jones gets the rebound. Griffiths can't put it there. Quick fight for the ball. We got a man down. That does not look good. Chris Jones is down.
And it looks like it was off the play here with Chris Jones. Yeah, this is not good.
Yesterday we seen Eddie Asamoah go down similar to that, but luckily he and Chris Jones is able to get up by their own willpower. So he'll stay into the game. But once again, the WFCU Center taking a collective gasp right there, because again, Chris Jones is one of the hot players coming off from the bench.
And it looks like it was based on the replay, a battle in the post that drew out the contact with Jones. But it's good to see him coming up, giving thumbs up already to everybody else on the floor. But as a precaution, of course, want to make sure that he goes through concussion protocol. Of course, Wormley coming onto the floor.
So with that, Jones will come out for a while, and Wormley will take his free throws. As it's a tie game so far, we've seen the Windsor Express go on to a little scoring run here at the opening stages of the second quarter, but once again, it's similar to a scoring run they were on to start this game off.
Yeah, very similar in terms of how this run's gone, but the question is, can they keep it up? Because the way this game has gone, the flow, no one has really been, since that opening run, established momentum. Neither team has been able to keep it clean foul-wise, been able to get quality shots and make the open shots when they have been able to make them. There's also been a lot of silly turnovers in this matchup.
It appeared to be a flagrant foul. That's why the Express got the possession back, but not for long, as Richard Armardi, former Express, gets the ball back for Moncton. Thomas waves off the pick, try to get it inside. That ball's taken away. Here comes the Express, but Gentry Thomas will go all the way.
Well, that was a miscommunication and then some. You have the steal from the Windsor Express side, then you're trying to focus so much on the transition, you don't realize that the guy you just got the ball from is right in your face. Now, it's another turnover.
Ball's taken away. Isaiah Tate regains possession for the Magic. He'll find Thomas again. He'll fake, he'll drive, he'll get fouled. And once again, when Gentry Thomas heats up like that, he's a dangerous threat, especially when he cuts down to the basket.
And when Doug Herring Jr. signed overseas, Thomas, to me, was one of the, if not the player that stepped up the most in that stretch before they brought Duke Mundy into the system. Just the way he was able to take control of the game, score 20-plus points in a lot of those stints since then, and shoot the ball efficiently. He gave them what they needed, really, at that time, with now all the moving pieces that Moncton's dealing with in this month and a half.
And keep in mind, Joe Salermo says that, you know, they're still under the building process, too. You lose a couple of players, especially like Jaheed Carson and Doug Herring Jr., and you keep on gaining more pieces. But all eyes are still on Moncton because they still have the best record in the league.
Yeah, and it's going to be about keeping that consistency up at the front, at the top of the league as these changes go on.
The tip in, no good. And the Magic breaks through out of the clouds and gets the rebound. Thomas again will get fouled.
I believe that was Tate actually on the drive. But either way, Tate has actually been getting very active in this game, I have to say, Isaiah Tate.
Well, you got to keep in mind, too, with both of these clubs in foul trouble early on, you got to dig deep in the bench and find your ace in the hole, and Isaiah Tate could be the guy to do that as he knocks down the first free throw. Isaiah Tate coming right in out of Marlboro, Maryland. Played college basketball for George Mason University. Ended up with 8 points last night.
He's, despite having 16 games played now in total on the season, has been kind of one of the more quieter guys so far. Currently actually top 10 in three-point percentage. Tate is coming into tonight, in fact, in the MVLC off the bench.
And once again, I think this proves to what we've been talking about throughout these broadcasts this year, JP. You got to look out for the bench, no matter what team you are. You could be Moncton, you could be Windsor, you could be Sudbury. You got to watch out for those benches, especially if it's the sixth man. You might be in a world of trouble if you don't put a body on them.
If you don't have the depth to keep up with a lot of offense, that's where you end up losing games. You end up falling behind by 20 or end up falling behind by 10. You cannot rely on just 5 or 6 players. You have to have 7, 8, 9, 10 in the rotation.
Chris Jones gets the bucket. DeAndre Thomas with the swat. Wormley up and in. So 2 quick points. Loose ball will stay with Moncton. Once again, good awareness and good hustle from Chris Jones. You know, I was quite surprised DeAndre Thomas wasn't the one providing the hustle, because the game he had last week, my goodness, anything is possible.
Yeah, a lot of great hustle plays, and actually stripped the ball a few times. It was like a brick wall for some of the fast breaks, forcing charges. In fact, DeAndre Thomas.
Quick pass down low. 3 on the shot clock, and it will be an offensive foul. Isaiah Tate, too much muscle.
And taking the body once again, this time with the right shoulder. Taking advantage of the size up with Tate. Now Tate's got 2 fouls, and the team's already got 3 fouls here, approaching halfway through the second.
So Wormley will get the inbounds pass from the sideline, tied up at 34 with 7:45 remaining in the half. DeAndre thinks about it. He'll drive inside for the easy 2, and he'll go to the line for the end 1.
And had some contact on the left leg, but still able to get enough loft with the right hand, with his signature hand for the layup inside. And now DeAndre Thomas, chance to go to the line and continue to try and showcase his 67% free throw percentage in 2018-19.
And it's quite rare to see DeAndre Thomas get that easy look to the basket, mind you, off the weak side defense.
Yeah.
So, once again, when it comes to DeAndre Thomas, you could anticipate all you want, and you just might get that wish. Hustling defensively, getting those easy looks. As Moncton gets the ball back, Allman will look around. Ball gets passed around, 7 on the shot clock. Quick 3 from the side, it's no good. Quick rebound down low, but Jones will get the rebound. Here comes the Express. Jones, Wormley, misses it from the front. And Moncton with the rebound again. 7 minutes to go, lean away 3 is no good, as Terrell Tate gets the board.
And now I think both teams are just trying to establish a tempo, try and tucker each other out.
And Tate gets the finger roll to go.
And I think that was both what was going through our minds. NASCAR-style offense to try and control the game, tucker the other opponent out, and try and get away.
And Duke Mondi knocks down the 3 from the corner, and that will cut the lead to 3. And they corrected it. Now it's a 2-point game. Thomas thought about it and buries it.
And the Express have been looking pretty good from the mid-range high post really so far tonight. Both Patel and Thomas hitting shots. Usually you don't see Thomas take that many mid-range shots that efficiently.
No, he's usually right down to the post. I agree with you on that. 10 on the shot clock. Mondi pump fakes once, fires it, misses it. Right down low for the rebound. Angelo Griffiths. Double teamed. Wormley bails him out. He'll drive. And he'll miss it. Right down low for the rebound is Cordell Janty. Interesting fact about him. We'll get to that later on. Meanwhile, Moncton has the ball again. Double team. Again, DeAndre Thomas popping out. But that might cost him. The pull-up J. No good. And there's Wormley. All by himself. It's him against the world. And he'll go to the line.
And the Gingerbread Man is so quick when you get him in stride on the fast break. Just took off in about 3 seconds from the key of the hour, from their own side, I should say, all the way down to the other side of the floor to bring us into the media timeout here, Aaron, and bring the Express to the line after the media timeout as well.
Coming out of media timeout, Horace Wormley will be off to the line to shoot a pair of free throws. And the Express with a 4-point lead. The Express getting some open looks, especially off the transition, JP.
Absolutely. The transition game has been starting to come into play, I think, in the past couple minutes. Both teams are trying to push up the tempo, rush up the floor, and try and take advantage of said transition. And that in key, though, has led to a lot of bad shots in the past couple minutes. There has been only maybe 1 or 2 made free field goals in the past couple minutes. Just no one's been able to establish what they've been looking for in terms of that, and now they have to try and change that up. I think both teams have to still make smarter shots, because this could still go either way. Both teams in the way they're shooting as well. Aaron, while the Windsor Express are shooting 53%, it's been the Moncton Magic's free throw line, going to the free throw line, I should say, and drawing the fouls that have kept them in it in this situation.
And keep in mind, too, let's remind the viewers that the Moncton Magic are playing without Billy White, placed on the IR because he injured his wrist near the end of 2018, so he's placed on the IR. In his place, Richard Amarty, of course, to get everybody up to tabs. And again, it's going to take a little while for Amarty to warm up, but that's where the rest of the Moncton Magic roster comes into play. And if you've seen the recent storyline that I hosted this week, we talked to Billy White about how it isn't all about just one player game after game. It's about a collective team effort, as that free throw just goes north of the border.
Yeah, as I said, it's not about just the starting 5 or one certain player stepping up. You have to have a collective effort. Or you could score 60 points, but if your teammates score only 20 combined, you could still end up losing the game. So you need to have everyone working together, or on both ends of the floor, offensively, defensively, trying to get steals, try and battle on the boards, as well as try and get assists.
And Patillo will foul Duke Mondi, and he is off to the line to shoot 3 free throws. Once again, not the brightest of all fouls to take. And remember, the Windsor Express, they were victims of that a couple of games ago. 4 3-point plays when they played against Halifax here a few weeks ago.
And that was absolutely insane, really, in terms of having that many, and 3 of the 4 for one player in that game as well. So there's still a struggle, I think, to try and get, especially perimeter defense, it seems. Because a lot of these fouls lately this past couple weeks have been when someone is taking a 3-point shot and wanting to not leave them wide open, but they end up overcommitting too much to where they end up getting them, I think, either on the wrist or the side, and that ends up sending the opposing team to the line. And now Moncton, they're just absolutely dominating the free throw advantage now because of these kind of situations. already now 14-16 heading into this trip.
And rest assured, they were the worst team in the league when it comes down to the charity stripe, shooting 68% prior to tonight's game. So, once again, when you look at the free throw percentage tonight, safe to say they're making big improvements, and that's what Joe Salermo's known for.
Yeah, they've been needing some of these big improvements, some of these changes as they've been changing the players, kind of going through a transition period.
And a quick shot from Juan Patillo. Ryan Anderson with the assist that brings the lead up to 2. But getting back to your point.
Yes, and as mentioned, it's been, for the past few games, with the 4 of the last 6 games, they've been having to have players go overseas. They've been dealing with injuries like Billy White, with Asamoah with last night, with that scary injury that we talked about a bit during pregame, and now having Armarty coming in as the R designate. It's kind of been difficult to try and get a proper rhythm, just like that was not a good rhythm with the double dribble.
So that's a turnover, and the Express will get the ball back. You know, it's quite interesting because remember, the Express are the best team when it comes to the free throw line, but they're just being dominated at their own game.
The thing is, Windsor's just not gone to the line as much. 8 of 11 from the stripes so far. And just 1 of 7 from 3 as well.
Patillo fights for the rebound but can't get it. Quick cross-court pass. They fight around, quick 3, it is no good, and DeAndre Thomas with the rebound. Here is Anderson. From downtown, put her there.
Just the second made triple of the game, both from Anderson. Windsor's been needing that somehow, some way to wake up on the outside. They've been getting torched defensively.
And with that, the lead is now 5. Cordell Janty, no good. So the Express get the rebound back, and keep in mind, Ryan Anderson is one of the leaders in rebounds this year alone, as that pass will go the other way.
Way too much traffic to get to DeAndre Thomas, but to get to what I was saying there with the three-point shots tonight so far, you mentioned needing to improve that with a lot of open shots last night. They've been doing that, Moncton has, to where Windsor's been challenging them to make those shots. They've shot 7 for 15 from deep so far.
It's quite interesting when you see things the other way. Meanwhile, Joel Nadondo is into the game for Moncton. 7 on the shot clock. Allman's trying to get a good look, and he gets the ball. 3 on the shot clock. He'll fire it out. Will. Hey, Will, get it.
And that
took a little bit of time, but it went in.
A very tough laner, in fact, there. Just did not have the space to get the proper shot.
Wormley through the traffic and with the bucket. So 48-42 with 2:40 remaining in the half. Good set for the pick. Shot outside by Nadondo's no good. And Anderson already turning up the afterburners. Patillo and Otley Jr. loses control of the pass.
And another sloppy turnover. Windsor's just got to get back to the fundamentals at this point, where they need to make sure they get the proper reads, make sure that the man you're passing to is ready for the pass. And tonight, they just have not gone that way. Already 8 turnovers in this game. That is a +3 disadvantage.
We don't know how many times that has happened to the Windsor Express tonight, but we've seen it happen more frequently. And keep in mind, this is a team that doesn't commit much turnovers.
Yeah, usually you don't see this many in the first half, at least, for the Windsor Express. Tonight, they just have not looked on the same page for a lot of sets.
It will be an offensive foul. Once again, Moncton's just trying to find some ways to get a good offensive stop. But again, this is where all the muscle and the action just comes into play.
Moncton foul number 44, Joel Nadondo.
As Joel Nadondo will pick up his first foul of the evening. Wormley, pitter-patter, swooping in is Patillo, but he'll get the foul.
That's going to put them in the bonus too, Aaron. Not a smart quarter defensively with the way this has been trending, a more grinded out kind of a quarter.
So Juan Patillo will go back to the line.
Moncton foul number 44, Joel Nadondo.
And Joel Nadondo picks up 2 quick fouls. So 1 offensive foul for him and a defensive foul on the other end. Chris Jones comes back into the game. You see the Windsor Express playing a small ball lineup, all but 1 player, that is Patillo, most likely guards.
Yeah, right now, the way their lineup is, we've seen them utilize this more where they either have gone Wormley-Jones, or in this case, Jones-Tate, running Griffiths at the 3, and Griffiths is going to be called for the whistle.
So right out of the bench, he picks up a foul with under 2 minutes to go. Now, once again, the fouling situation just keep on piling up. Unfortunately, it's nothing new for those who tune in to watch these Windsor Express games, but they got to put control on those fouls.
Usually it's the third quarter that is where a lot of the fouls, when it comes to Windsor Express, in the Windsor Express games, I should say, usually come as a team from both sides. Tonight, it's just been in every single quarter where it's been a bit of a slower pace. Now we're having a coaches conference now.
So quick conference between Joe Salermo and Bill Jones, as Moncton's still waiting to see what's going on. But once again, between those two, they are 2 of the winningest coaches in NBLC history, so a lot of respect on both of their accounts.
Yeah, and you asked about this to Joe Salerno in terms of what has changed over the years in this rivalry between these 2 teams. And really this coaching, these 2 coaches, I should say, Salerno and Coach Jones. And it's kind of been the toughness that has been the most constant. And that there's been so much more respect between these 2 coaches because they've been here since really the first seasons of the league's history. Whether it's, of course, Salerno with the Island Storm and now Moncton, or Coach Jones with, at the time, the Oshawa Power with the Windsor Express as well in his coaching history. It's kind of, I think, a respect thing in terms of knowing that the systems are the way they are.
Tate with a quick 2. Miscommunication from Moncton. But no, getting back to Salerno and Jones, they both know each other because they went face-to-face in the 2014 NBLC Finals, which went to Windsor's way as they picked their first championship in 7 games. And that was a tough series to begin with. Allman pulls up from downtown, and he'll ring it up for the folks down at Moncton.
Corey Allman.
Back on the other side of the court, Tate will fight through himself, and another easy deuce.
And somebody's got to lock down defensively on guys like Tate and Allman, neither side defending. But I wouldn't be surprised if they try and set something back up again for Allman near the top.
You see Patillo trying to beat the cheat pick.
1 minute to play in the quarter, 1 minute.
And the Moncton Magic will draw another foul. It will be the Express's 5th team foul of the evening, of the quarter let alone.
Express foul to number 11, Chris Jones. His first team 5th.
Only Chris Jones' first foul. As you see him talking, pleading his case to one of the referees. Once again, the officials for tonight's game: Tim Cook, Mike Hardy, and Rob Caparici.
Every single player that's been on the floor for the Express, believe it or not, has had at least 1 foul so far tonight. 2 for Wormley, 2 for Anderson, 2 for Thomas. They just struggled, I think, tonight, though, overall, to defend Allman. Whether it's just Moncton spreading the ball inside out to wide open Allman, or in this case, being able to see him penetrate off the pick and roll, whether it's for a mid-range jump shot or a drive inside to send him to the line. Windsor just cannot find a way to defend him for whatever reason. They have to improve that in the second half.
That's been one of their problems, which spurred into a second half deflation as Moncton gets the quick fight for the ball. That might go on Luke Cochran with 44.9 seconds remaining in the half.
Express foul to number 25, Luke Cochran.
And yes, indeed. And now he's in these 2 foul player club. This is going to be a lot of players in foul trouble, I think, overall, once this game shifts towards the first 6 minutes of the third quarter.
No question about it. The Express have to plead out the discipline factor as they head into the clubhouse. They'll get the ball with exactly 30 seconds remaining in the half. Join us up here in the media booth for a halftime report. We'll go through the stats and facts and talk about all the other scores outside here at Windsor. As Chris Jones spins around, loses control, and the Magic will get it back. Chris Jones gingerly gets up, and it'll be an offensive foul. And another guy is down. That's Richard Armarty. And hopefully Armarty's all right, because that's the last person you want to get injured.
It just signed this morning, coming in from Toronto, and thankfully up off the floor.
Until foul number 9, Richard Armarty. His first.
It's Armarty's first foul. Now 14.7 seconds remaining in the half. Express with a 6-point lead. They're looking to go for the last shot. Jones one-on-one with McCulloch. Jones fires it, gets the foul with .4 showing on the clock.
And I think that's good awareness from Jones, knowing how this game is going, that would be called with a foul. Got the pump fake, got McCulloch to jump, and leaned right in for the foul to send himself to the line and try and get some extra points for the Express. I cannot believe, I'll be quite honest, I cannot believe the Express are still leading this game with the way this has trended this way. It feels more like a 30-30 game more than a 54-47 lead for the Express or something.
Well, it's basically defense-minded. Remember, the Express haven't been faring well defensively because of the fouls, but offensively they keep on getting those good looks as Chris Jones knocks down those 2 free throws. 4/10, and that will wind out the first half. 55-47 is the lead for the Express over the Moncton Magic. We'll step aside for a few commercial messages, and when we return, we'll have the Windsor Express halftime report. You're watching the Windsor Express Basketball Network, powered by Booster Juice.
Journalism enables people to be well informed. It's documenting history. It's an extraordinary way for people to be connected with their community.
What happens in the world affects us. What happens in our community affects us. What happens in the province affects us. And we get to be the eyes and ears and tell the stories. There are many stories that need to be told, and those things add value to our life.
It's neat to know that so many people are relying on me. It makes you strive for perfection, or it makes you strive for accuracy.
The journalism program here at St. Clair College is a convergence journalism program. Convergence means the merging together of print, radio, and television, and the web, and putting all different stories into 3 or 4 different platforms.
I can go out now and I can understand how to write a print. I know how to do social media. I can shoot a video. So you start to trust yourself and to use your journalistic skills.
In 21st century newsrooms, journalists have to be able to do it all.
We ask every one of our reporters to tell stories in multiple ways.
There's a different style of writing for print than there is for radio, than there is for television. And it's really important that the information gets out that is true to those platforms.
We are one of the few, if not the only, program that is actually taking students to a live broadcast and giving them that opportunity and that experience.
I want to be a journalist because I think I like to listen other stories.
午间好，这里是媒体综合新闻节目，我是谭一丹，欢迎收
I
看
find。that the students that come out of St. Clair College are already at or above where some of our broadcast employees have been over the last several years.
I feel that I made the greatest decision I could by choosing this program because I have learned so much, and I think that I can only grow from here.
I would hands down recommend the program to someone considering it. I would recommend it to someone that's not even considering it. They teach you such a vast array of different skills, different platforms, different things that you could really apply to so many different careers.
Based on literally hundreds of interns I've seen over the years, St. Clair students are better prepared to go into the work environment in media than most students coming out of colleges and universities across North America.
I think it's that very comprehensive curriculum that we have that creates converged journalists that sets this journalism school apart.
We have a 8-point lead heading into halftime, but it's the Express over the Moncton Magic, 55-47. Welcome to the media booth up here at the WFCU Center. Aaron, JP, and JP, we were talking off the air about this doesn't feel like a 55-47 game because it's mainly based off of defense, so more or less it feels more like a 30-30 game. Care to elaborate on that?
Yeah, I mean by that it's been not a game of offense. As you hit on a little bit, it's a game of defense. But not only that, free throws. The free throw game has kept Moncton into this matchup along with shots like Corey Allman from deep. But the way Windsor has been able to keep this lead really they've been able to have a balanced offensive attack while also, when they've gone to the line, being able to make it more efficient, make their shots more efficiently at the stripe. So it's just been more of a grinded out, chip away game rather than a excitement kind of game that you would see in this kind of a score, and especially when a team is shooting 50% like the Express in this matchup, mind you.
Well, keep in mind, too, the Express has one of the few players that are in double-digit scoring figures, Juan Patillo with 11, but once again, it's about the nitty-gritty approach. Yeah. We've seen the Windsor Express get a couple of chances on the fast break, but they blow a couple of those chances, too.
Yeah, they've had some bad passing here tonight, especially down the baseline and in traffic. They got to be smarter with their ball movement, I think, tonight, Aaron, because they were not able to get even the cleanest, the simplest of plays to work out. They got to go back, I think, to the basics. Just think of where, if there's going to be a player to the spot, make sure they're in that spot, or else you're going to have a turnover and give the ball right back. You can't have an error stretch where, like Moncton had at one point during the second, where they had 3 consecutive steals. You can't afford to have that again because Moncton might make you pay out of the locker room this time.
That's right. That's where the majority of the turnovers come into play. But how about Chris Jones coming off the bench? Once again, he's taking care of business.
Yeah, he's kind of controlled the tempo off the bench in terms of this team. Currently 8 points on the game as well as 2 assists, but has also been playing very well defensively and getting to the line to shoot free throws. Those kind of been what they've been needing in terms of the bench depth, I should say, for a game like this tonight, where he's there stopping the passing lanes, starting the ball away, getting the quick steals, and trying to lead the fast break. Good game so far from Jones overall, I think.
Absolutely, but look on the other side. Corey Allman for the Moncton Magic has 19 points, topping his 12 points he got last night. You got to find some way to stop Moncton from spreading the floor.
Yeah, mainly to Allman because that's where they've been going, their number one option on scoring, and he has been showing it. 5 for 10 from the field, 4 triples so far, 5 for 6 from the stripe, along with 3 assists. Windsor has struggled when it comes to Moncton stretching the ball from inside outside, as well as the pick and roll to get him into the mid-range, into mid-range opportunities, and into the paint where he can draw contact and get those set free throws. So I think Windsor needs to change their assignments, maybe get some double teams whenever he gets the ball and try and deny him the ball to force some turnovers, because Moncton has also been a victim of some of those very bad passes at times. If they can disrupt that, Windsor might be able to pull away to double digits, and the way this game's going might be just enough.
Well, before we head on to the out-of-town scores, let's talk about some more keys to the game. Number one, I think from Moncton, you got to get everybody else involved. Richard Amarty, once again, the headline is signing as the IR designate for Billy White, but we've seen him, he suffered a little bit in terms of turnovers, especially when he got the first touch of the ball. So I think it's a little bit of an opening night jitters in his first game of the Moncton Magic uniform.
I think so, because you have to remember, while they have had experience together, they played overseas in China for one of the tournaments 3 years ago. Williams Jones Cup, I believe it was. Pardon me, correct me if I'm wrong on that part. But the main issue really has been, he's been with the team for under 12 hours, technically. Signed this morning, you're not going to thrive, I think, unless you're a quick learner. And tonight, he's just not had enough time. He's only had one run through, really, one practice, really, with this team. And while they need him, he's just not been there. He's just not there quite there yet. He just came from Toronto. I think it's going to be, he might be more of an impact come once he's more comfortable against KW on Sunday. But for the game tonight, it's just about trying to get him worked in as much as he can, trying to get him comfortable for future games and for the future stretch, I think, for the rest of the road trip at least.
And I'll say this too, when it comes to both of these teams, I think they need to give the ball to the guards because we've seen early on in the early stages of this game, the forwards and the centers, more specifically DeAndre Thomas and Nick Evans getting the foul trouble. It's quite interesting to see those forwards getting in the foul trouble, so you got to give the ball to somebody else, somebody that's willing to go down through the traffic and try to go to the line more. And I think both of these clubs have the tools to do it. Just give it to the guards.
I think so, because Joe Salerno knew that the big men are one of the main focuses, the interior scores really with the Windsor Express. Defense is playing like that. Windsor's been struggling at times to try and get it in. Windsor knows that there's a lot of good big men on Moncton. They've been playing like that, so you gotta go against the grain really, and that's what I think they have to do. Moncton's trying to do that with Allman. We haven't seen Windsor really go to the guards on a consistent basis on offense so far. I wouldn't be surprised if they try and maybe go inside out more, try and go for the extra pass and try and swing the ball to get some open triples to wake up that part of their game with how much lockdown defense there is down low.
Absolutely. Quick scores from out of town around the league. The St. John's Edge prevail against the Island Storm, 107-98. St. John's keep on going on a winning tear, and the woes continue over there in PEI.
Yeah, it's not a good stretch right now for sure. I think right now it's just about, at this point, getting yourself together and regrouping and trying to go back to the drawing board. I think in practice they got to do something, Coach Kendrick or something down there, because I don't know, unless you bring in some new talent, I don't know what else you can really change in that system at this moment, whether it's trying to improve consistency and in a lot of cases improving the bench depth. That hurt them on the previous road trip. That's been hurting them a lot of times is consistency. They need to have that on overall time of the season, and that's not been the case for the Island Storm this year.
Over in the third quarter in Sudbury, London Lightning leads 78-72 against the Sudbury 5. So once again, could be a barn burner down at Sudbury Community Arena once again.
Yeah, an absolute barn burner. There was last night with London with some of the energy, the young players as you talked about, especially guys like Moon and guys, the veterans that you have a part of that system like Waite that are able to step up. And then of course you have Sudbury, that is a very difficult team to play in the first place. I wouldn't be surprised if that game goes to overtime as well, because both of those teams match their sort of skills and styles just about evenly, I think, in terms of mix of young players that are becoming impact players and role players / veteran players that can make up a lot of the big minutes and come up in the clutch.
I have something else I wanted to ask you about around the league, but I'll save that till after the break. But for now, at the half, it's the Express 55 and the Moncton Magic 47. We'll come back here in a few moments for the call of the second half. You're watching the Windsor Express Basketball Network, presented by Booster Juice.
So public relations is like being a bridge between an organization and their public. As this public relations expert, you are a liaison, so you have to connect the brand or the business or the company with their public in such a way that the public responds to them in a positive manner. So the advantages of taking public relations at St. Clair College is that we have access to the Mediaplex. Now the Mediaplex offers us a converged education. It's one of 3 in the world and the only one in Canada. What that means is that we're taught in film, broadcast, radio, there's graphic design, we do event planning, we write all sorts of press releases, we work in tandem with the journalism club. So at the end of everything, you can communicate any professional message across any medium. So what do you think about public relations?
It starts here, where Jamie lost 145 pounds and became a leader, inspiring others to get active. Where Cheryl didn't let her fear of water keep her kids from learning to swim. Where Valerie got fit after retiring, and at 90 years old, she's still dancing to the beat. Vitality, courage, transformation. A healthier you starts here. What will your story be? Join the YMCA today.
So important to be taught by industry professionals because they know what they're doing. And they're not just teaching because they read it in a book somewhere. They're teaching because they've lived it. I choose to take control of my future, and my path is St. Clair College. I choose to be here.
Once again, just a minute and more away from the second half. We welcome you back to the WFCU Center. NBL Canada basketball action here. Moncton Magic against the Windsor Express. Express with an 8-point lead as we are waiting to start the second half. Aaron Sanders and JP Justin Prince. Now, the part I was about to ask you before we went to the break, JP. Of course, the big news going on with the Cape Breton Highlanders. They lost Kenny Jones and they lost Bruce Massey, two integral parts of that Highlanders team. How big of an impact will that take to the Highlanders team? Because they've been red hot. Matter of fact, they're in second place in the league so far.
I think absolutely huge, really. As I was talking about, and we've talked about for the past at least week and a half at least, Bruce Massey very likely could have been the MVP this year. The way he was playing top 5 in scoring alone, and was continuing to get stronger and stronger with each game. And now having that kind of a piece gone from your system along with Kenny Jones, two crucial parts of your offense, are going to be huge to try and make up. Now the thing is, the part that's going to affect them in the long run, who do you replace them with? Are you able to find the right youth? Are you able to find a player that can step up in that kind of a situation? And that's the main key, because right now they don't have that kind of a player, I don't think, on the overall roster-wise. It's going to be a challenge, I think, to try and make that up. Jamal Reynolds might be one of those guys that can step up, but I think you need more than one. You need 2, 3, 4, again, impact players overall. At least 3 in the starting 5 minimum, and we talked about at least the depth to carry yourself into the postseason. I think another player that comes into mind for the Highlanders is Deshaun Walker. He's been coming off the bench and averaging around 10, 15 points per game too. And keep in mind, in his first game in the Cape Breton Highlander uniform, he scored, I think, around 20 points. And you talk about major impact. I mean, this season, we're seeing a lot of new players coming in and making an impact immediately. We've seen Chris Jones do it. We've seen Tyrell Tate do it. We've seen Glenn Davis do it, let alone playing 3 minutes. So it might come down to the bench, because that's where Deshaun Walker is. So again, the bench could be very lethal for the Cape Breton Highlanders if they're able to make those right adjustments over Bernard Fitzgonzalez. Yes, I think so. I absolutely agree with you. And now that's going to be the thing. Can he get the right personnel to keep on going and fill that kind of a huge role? Especially a guy like Massey for the shooting guard spot. But kind of want to focus, of course, to this game that you're seeing with these coaches. They've got to have to make they've probably made a lot of adjustments here, I think, Aaron, because again, lots of foul trouble for the Express. Bringing the Moncton Magic to the line, allowing a lot of threes despite leading. Moncton, meanwhile, just not able to keep up with the grip and grind kind of a style of a game when Windsor's able to get those little tiny bursts down the floor. Anything can still happen. Anything can still happen, because I think when it comes to playing here at the WFCU Center this year, we've seen a lot of close games. If the first game of the season against the Sudbury 5 isn't an example, you should watch them play against the KW Titans a few weeks ago, and that game went to overtime. So immediately, right out of the gate, the Moncton Magic turned the ball over. Yeah, already a quick offensive foul and already a second for Allman. Not the best of ways, I don't think, to start, especially with how the first half went in terms of the foul situation. Once again, want to say a quick hello to the Moncton fans watching at the viewing party and the rest of the NBL Canada Nation as Tate goes inside, misses the shot. Quick foul down the post. Yeah, and again, you can see how they're lining up on defense. They don't want to leave open layups. Whenever Windsor's been able to get in, it's been a cakewalk. They know that they have guys like Wormley, like Patillo, that are threats inside for the Windsor Express. They don't want to leave those opportunities. They want to force them outside. Inbounds pass. Here's Anderson.
gets the bunnies on McCulloch, but Patillo is there to miss the jumper.
And some good passing there, just couldn't connect from the decent baseline shot.
McCulloch from downtown. He'll cut the lead into 5.
And there's the issues again with the Express, especially from deep. This time the transition caught them sleeping.
On the other end, Anderson misses the 3 from the front. And right down again is McCulloch. Keep in mind, too, he rolled his ankle last night, JP. And he looks like he's playing up to full potential, mind you.
Yeah, and as he gets rejected to the basket, yeah, it was, as mentioned a little bit in the first quarter, game time decision, but someone that is a much needed piece. With both your power forwards basically out for today's game, it's kind of hard to fill that lineup having to go small ball.
Good look from the inbounds pass for Denzel Taylor to pick up the easy 2. So it's now a 3-point game just underway here in the second half, WFCU Center. Patillo finds Cochran, loses control, and it'll be Moncton ball.
And this does not look like a pretty game, I have to say, for Cochran. Unfortunately for him, just has not really been an impact offensively. He's been pretty good defensively, but just very quiet stat sheet-wise, has not been there on the rebounds a lot of the times. Needs to clean things up a little bit.
And Mondi knocks down the tray, and it ties the game up at 55. So once again, Moncton finding a way to get those scoring runs, and now they're back into this game. Patillo hands off back to Wormley, and he knocks down the 3.
And a nice handoff once again. Good play for the nice wing. And now it's 3-2 defense.
Wormley almost poked it away. Moncton gets it back, 12 on the shot clock. Wraparound pass inside, but it's over to Evans, who knocks down the 3.
And all of a sudden, this is a tie ball game.
Anderson can't make the wish come true, but I believe it will be an over and back foul on Cochran. And if it is, once again, the woes continue for him tonight.
Yeah, he has not been there tonight in terms of offense, defense, boxing out. Statistically, so far for him, it's just been 1 rebound and 3 fouls. And indeed, going off to the bench, DeAndre Thomas back in. He's also been in foul trouble with 2 tonight.
Absolutely. Once again, DeAndre Thomas is in foul trouble. Keep in mind, Nick Evans is in foul trouble as well. So you got to watch out for them as Mondi gets the high pick from Evans. Mondi, good pass inside. It gets rejected. Here comes the Express again. Tate, the Euro, and he'll go to the line.
And a good rejection down low on the baseline to set that up. But some good speed for Tate. But he's been a pretty good, efficient free throw shooter so far this season. Again, an energy player for this Express roster this year.
And keep in mind, Terrell Tate played his first few games with the Sudbury Five. So, again, a good puzzle piece for the Windsor Express as he knocks down the first free throw. One thing I want to know, though.
Yeah.
Is it the headband that's really giving him those good powers?
Maybe. Potentially. I heard headbands sometimes, or sometimes in the case of goggles in some players, help performance.
Well, look at Russell Bird, for example, for the Island Storm. I mean, he puts on a good performance every time he puts the headband on, but no, rest assured, yep. Tate has been doing real well for the Windsor Express this year, and he gives his team a 2-point lead. A good shot inside as Corey Allman continues to rings it up, and he'll go for the 3-point play the old-fashioned way.
And Allman is just on fire tonight, just continuously being fed the ball as the #1 option on offense, and is showing it. Now above 50% from the field, 23 points now with a chance to make it 24. Windsor's just struggled on defensive matchups with him all night tonight.
And keep in mind, too, they keep on getting burned down at the free throw line, and that's usually the Windsor Express's trait. They're #1 in the league with that.
Yeah, now they're getting torched above 90% just about from Moncton.
Anderson into Thomas as he knocks down the 2. But once again, coming into the game, Moncton was last in the league from the free throw line.
And I think that Joe Salerno might have told them, you have to make your free throws. You can't give away free points. When you make that many, you know that there had to be something there as a whole team, 18 of 20.
So the Express get the ball back immediately. Tate steps back and finds Wormley. Anderson, corner three, put her there.
And Anderson's been the main constant when it comes to the perimeter game on offense for the Express. Gotta feed the ball more to him. He's been waking up in a lot of these games in the second half, doing so again now.
And the pull-up jumper is good as Duke Mondi continues to add the shooting rage for Moncton. Under 8 minutes to go in the third quarter.
And that was a huge signing too when Moncton brought him in the past week and a half or so. To have someone like that was such an impact player last season with the Highlanders. And gives a much needed fill with the shooting guard spot, pardon me.
That's right. Keep in mind, Duke Mondi's no stranger to the NBLC too. Played his first year with the Cape Breton Highlanders. And he also played in the NBA G League last season with the Texas Legends.
Yeah, and he's been a really good player, solid player too with this Moncton system, and I think has been kind of like I talked about at the time, needing somebody to step up for the long run, and they went and got the best possible option. And when you're a team like Moncton and want to win a championship, you have to go and get the best players, and that's what they've been doing this year. And a guy like Mondi tonight, though, just has been a little bit off the marks consistency-wise, I have to say. 4-7 with 13 points. So still.
67-64 is the score. Moncton with the ball again. As McCulloch tries to break through DeAndre Thomas's defense. But before that, that will be a foul.
Express foul number 2.
And now this is another not needed foul when it comes to Thomas. 3 now on the game. As long as he keeps it clean here, I think he'll be okay. But if he gets a fourth here in the next couple minutes, Windsor's bench is going to have problems here at the center spot for the rest of this matchup.
Things aren't looking good for Windsor's bigs as Moncton keeps on going around the court as McCulloch misses a 3. Loose ball, Patillo retains it. This is Wormley. Misses it. Here's Gentry Thomas over to Evans. Look out. He'll throw down the slammer with the left hand.
And that's someone you don't expect to see to fly like that down the floor. Great pass, great setup. And now, getting called for the whistle.
And Terrell Tate will go to the free throw line again.
Yeah, and for Tate, of course, 79% from the stripe. When he came over from Sudbury and was brought in by Windsor, I think, again, it was a much-needed change. Windsor just did not feel like it had the right pieces at the start of the season. No offense to them to start off the campaign. It takes time. It's taken time in the past 3 seasons to get the right pieces to set themselves up for the postseason run. And Tate, I think, might be one of their top top leaders for the postseason.
You keep in mind, you got to say that too about Chris Jones, him coming off the bench, but it's been quite impressive to see Tate start the majority of these games and take over the way he has.
Yeah, he's given them exactly what they needed. When Armardi was still with the team, they swapped him and Tate in terms to get Armardi the offense off the bench. But Tate's also helped them on rebounds, on hustle plays, and fast breaks like this.
Good pass into Anderson. He'll knock down the tray.
And there's exactly what I meant right there. Back and forth, nifty passing to find Ryan Anderson. The good extra pass to set that up.
Evans with the pick. And he'll get it. Drives right down to the basket, puts it up and in. Once again, Nick Evans showing what he is capable of, being one of the leading blockers in the NBLC this year. Loose ball, it'll be kickball.
And now there's some shouting from the bench. I think they're saying it was a kick, trying to see who this was on here. I think there's a kickball, they say, from Windsor maybe? I think it went off the leg of maybe Evans, and yes,
it's going to Moncton. You're right.
Wasn't sure exactly.
Gentry Thomas will come in. Wayne McCulloch will sit out. Keep in mind, I think rest is what Wayne McCulloch needs because he played 42 of a possible 53 minutes last night with 18 points. Most importantly, that clutch tray to tie the game up and send it to overtime. Here's Evans sizing down against his former teammate. Quick three. And it's missed. Tate with the rebound. Tate grapevining through the defense. Wormley, the corner. No. And Patillo will put it back up.
And with Evans on the floor there, Patillo seeing the opportunity, no one there to box out, rushed right underneath the bucket, got the quick offensive rebound, and made it look very simple.
Evans on the floor, Patillo on the board. Now those two will go at it again, and Evans misses the jump hook. Anderson and Tate had the ball stripped away from him, and it will go back to Windsor, but not before this media timeout. We have a media timeout on the floor with the score, the Windsor Express 73, the Moncton Magic 67.
Hey fans, Blondie Cleaners is here.
I want to understand why.
I want this to be perfect.
I want to be inspired.
I want to be challenged. No matter the reason, our passion to learn brought us here.
The Express with a 6-point lead as they are winding down on the media timeout. Once again, we said at the halftime show, JP, give it to the guards, and they've been doing it just such. Corey Allman on one side, and on the other end, you see Chris Jones lighting it up, but most importantly, it's been the Tyrell Tate show for the Windsor Express.
Yeah, Tate, 13 points now with 4-6 shooting, 5 of 6 from the stripe too, Aaron. And before, in the first half, he had been very quiet, really, for the most part, offensively. Since the start of the second half, he's also been able to pass the ball very well. Some smart extra passes, especially on the fast break, that have gotten him 1 assist, along with his 4 rebounds. I think they should lead the ball through him to try and set things up because they have not looked as strong in terms of passing tonight. Just a max of 3 assists as their top leader in Horace Wormley and Ryan Anderson tonight statistically. They've looked better when Tate has been leading it up the floor and tries to set up a perimeter shot. Set someone up, I should say, for a perimeter shot.
Absolutely. So it goes to show, you know, how capable Tate has been since joining the Windsor Express. And the inbounds pass goes to Jones. Cross court's over. Patillo, the size up. And the miss. And Jones will pick up the OB. 6 on the shot clock. Jones got a look. But I believe they are going to stop here. They're going to probably add a couple of seconds back on the shot clock. Because once again, an offensive rebound, it usually resets it to half 14.
Yeah, it looks like it didn't reset properly, and they're going to have to wind it back down. Back to resetting to 20.
It appears the shot clock is set at 20.
And now there's confusion over the shot clock.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on here. Usually,
but I think you've just got to give them the benefit of the doubt. Now they're going to set this up to the proper time, I think, here. But this gives, I think, Windsor a chance to drop a decent play. We've seen them run a lot of freelance offense, I think, tonight.
They can't do freelance if Moncton's putting on the 3-2 zone. 11 on the shot. Thomas on Evans. Thomas fades away. It's short.
Not a smart dream shake that time.
It'll be an offensive foul again.
And Mundy put out the arm to try and shove away Chris Jones. You can't do that. You have to be smarter than that. I know there's this, you want the separation up the floor, but you can't just shoulder arm someone up the floor to get that separation. Offensive foul would go the other direction.
The next Moncton Magic foul will put them over the limit, so they have no fouls to give. The Express have 3. Tate with the ball far side. Inside to Thomas. 8 on the shot clock. Miscommunication there. Chris Jones will miss it. So the Moncton Magic get the ball again. This is Mondi. Mondi gets the pick from Evans. Chris crosses through the side. Another 3 goes off the glass. Get the Windex on that one. Thomas, top side. Here's Anderson, catch and shoot, and he'll miss it. Heartbreak City for Ryan Anderson.
And more rush shots now. Both teams, I think, are just pressing. They're trying to hope that they can pull away or close the gap, and instead just touring the shots. Just got to keep it calm and patient.
Evans takes advantage of the mismatch and gets the jump hook to go.
And that time, we've seen Tate a lot of times match up, in fact, sometimes against big men, or Wormley in some cases. That time, Evans seen that, just backed up on Tate, and just bodied his way right down low, and no one came to help.
9 on the shot clock. Jones driving inside. He'll put it up and in. Another quick 3, and it goes. Once again, the Moncton Magic lighting it up from downtown as Isaiah Tate will cut the lead to 4. Thomas once again on the side. Good cut pass into Anderson. He gets blocked. It'll be an offensive foul. No correction. It'll be a foul down low.
Yeah, I was going to say, but in... And now Taylor is in with 5 fouls, believe it or not. So this is now a very tough match. Very tough to lose another starter for Moncton now in terms of whether situations, now foul trouble.
We have a technical foul. Let's listen into the PA. And now we're experiencing some sort of confusion here.
It looks like the scoring table wanted to make sure that Joe Salerno not happy here.
And I don't blame him because I don't see anything. I didn't see anything within my view.
Double technical foul, charge number 5, Denzel Taylor.
And Denzel Taylor is done for the game. He's heading right out to the locker room, so they lose Denzel Taylor, not only because of the technical, but he already picked up 5 fouls, so that technical just did him in. Which means Richard Amarty is going to have to pick up the pieces and work from there.
Welcome back to the court for the Windsor Express, number 21, Anthony Utley Jr.
I mean, we could look back and try to find out what happened here.
I'll have to wonder if he said something to the official after getting called for the 5th foul, because that would put him in absolute foul trouble for the rest of this game. 5 fouls is a lot in not even 36 minutes of a game. But now he's out of the game, so you lose a guy that small forward / power forward spot. Now you also have to think about guys like Allman, 3, Evans, 3, as well 2 for Tate. Noendo as well, pardon me. Thomas with 2, Mundy with 2. You got to be smarter at this point of the game. There's some frustration maybe that crosses over a little bit from London, I have to say, from the game last night. But you have to be smarter and think and move on from it. You have to have a short memory in this kind of a situation.
Once again, we talked about all those players that are in foul troubles, but it did not appear to us that Denzel Taylor was in foul trouble until we heard what Mark Knight had to say, and because of that, Denzel Taylor is now disqualified from the game, and you have no choice but to go by the motto that Joe Salerno and Scott Squires talked about, next man up, in the Magic Time podcast earlier today. So it will be next man up, and it is Amarty, who shot as flat as day-old soda on that one. And a quick strip from Nick Evans. That was timely executed, perfectly executed by Evans, but that might be to the expense of Chris Jones. He's been battered up here this evening.
He's been playing very physical, trying to get multiple steals, and that time just absolutely stripped, it seemed, going in towards the floor. This is a break, though, I think, on the defensive side for the Express, because Moncton would have had a 3-on-1 maybe on a fast break to get 2 points. That would have closed it down to just 4.
Way back to this game, Mondi tries to find a cutting Evans, but it will go out of bounds.
Yeah, another mistake in terms of ball movement. Just no one's been on the same page tonight, and you can see some of the deflation on some of these benches.
Thomas breaks his shooting spells and gets the 2 to go. And the ball gets stripped out of bounds. Moncton will retain possession with 1:34 remaining. Moncton, once again, a 12-4 record. They lost 4 of their last 6 games. The Express, 4-7 record, winners of 2 in a row. The ball gets tapped around, and DeAndre Thomas will pick up the board. Jones off the Thomas pick. He'll drive inside through the weak side. It's no good. And they find an open Gentry Thomas, but that 3 won't go. Apparently it did go. Loose ball on the floor. Marty's all over it. So are the Express, and the Magic will get it back. Good pass inside. Evans throws it down, and the foul.
Well, there's the energy I think everyone's been waiting for. My goodness.
A simple knock on the door doesn't work for Nick Evans. He just busts right through that door and just comes right in and slams it down, and now he's off for the and 1. That is a worthy top 10 play of the week.
Wow. Well, at the very least, I will say I think everyone is now awake, including the players on the bench. I think that just might change the entire complexion of this game, knowing that when you bring that kind of ferocity and ferociousness into a game like this, that you better step on up if you want to win.
Talk about something from the bag of magic tricks. That was a throwdown. Thomas, on the other hand, beats Evans and get the shot to go. He got that magical fake going on. And with that, the Express are up 7. Thomas up top on the defensive end. Evans tries to drive. Loose ball on the floor. Jones will take it. And helter-skelter going on. Marty tried to fight for it. What in the world is going on here?
This is probably one of the most interesting third quarters I think I've ever seen. And that's saying something. Just Jones was able to strip it on away. Then at the same time, you have him not able to get a proper handle. Then takes, I think it was a hand to the face by Marty as he tried to reach in. Just the amount of intensity from that dunk, I just said myself, I expected to go up. It just went up from what was library levels of excitement to an actual game here, pardon me.
I think both of us just had an out-of-body experience after that play. My goodness. You start off with the Evans slam, and then you have the little loose ball play on the other end. And now we are going to have a thrilling fourth quarter. That ball's taken away by Jones.
And now Moncton's having a meltdown. They have to be just falling apart right now. They need to keep themselves together.
Jones loses control of the ball, but it will get stripped. 3 seconds remaining in the third.
I'm surprised Joe Salerno hasn't called a timeout in this situation. It looks like this game is starting to spin, spiraling out of control, because now Windsor is now trying to take advantage of things, now getting to the line and forcing them to make bad turnovers.
Terrell Tate and Daniel Dooley will come in for the final 3 seconds of the third. Gentry Thomas is in the game for Moncton again. And Chris Jones knocks down the first free throw. Chris Jones having a humdinger of a ball game here tonight. 14 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. Now 15. 3 seconds to go. Moncton's looking for options. Here's Evans. Evans flings it. Almost got it to go as the crazy but interesting third quarter comes to an end, and it's a 12-point lead for the Express. 86-74 is the score. We'll be back for the fourth quarter right after this message and a word from St. Clair College.
So public relations is like being a bridge between an organization and their public. As this public relations expert, you are a liaison, so you have to connect the brand or the business or the company with their public in such a way that the public responds to them in a positive manner. So the advantages of taking public relations at St. Clair College is that we have access to the Mediaplex. Now the Mediaplex offers us a converged education. It's one of 3 in the world and the only one in Canada. What that means is that we're taught in film, broadcast, radio. There's graphic design, we do event planning, we write all sorts of press releases. We work in tandem with the journalism club. So at the end of everything, you can communicate any professional message across any medium. So what do you think about public relations?
Express President and CEO Dardis Willis participating in the YMCA dance as we are approaching moments away from the fourth quarter. 86-74 is the score. As we welcome you back here at the WFCU Center, Aaron Sanders, Justin Prince here on the call. You know, one thing that just took my breath away was those last few sequences from the third quarter. You talk about the Nick Evans slam and the quick skirmish on the other end of the court. I mean, that had to wake up the crowd.
I think it definitely did, because to be honest, it's been pretty quiet for much of the night tonight in terms of energy. But after that dunk, the amount of hustle plays that we've been seeing from the Express started to get kind of the crowd reaction side from it. I think that just woke everybody up in the way this game has gone. And since then, everything's trended towards the Windsor Express's way, it seems, momentum-wise. Up by double digits, and now in control of the tempo, really, after players in foul trouble and some, how do I put this, awkward sequences is an understatement.
You know what? I'll agree with you. We have a couple of people live that's been saying it was an awkward sequence.
Yeah.
But I'm agreeing with the best of both worlds here.
Yeah, this is an interesting game. I don't think I've ever seen as awkward of a third quarter I think we've seen.
The energy is picked up, no question about it. Wayne McCulloch gets the rebound. He loses control. And another interesting sequence will go back to the Express.
And another offensive turnover. This time, McCulloch trying to do too much dribbling to avoid multiple reach-ins. This time, ends up hitting the side of the backboard. They're just off the rhythm tonight on this game with this back-to-back.
Oddly Jr. drives, he'll get the foul.
But you have to keep in mind, too, this is a team that's had a lot of changes, of course, again, that we talked about a little bit in terms of roster movement, in terms of players on the IR, bringing Marty on top of that, with just today, mind you, officially signing him this morning, coming over from Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of trying to get through this stretch, really, until you get towards February and March, I think, and move on from there for the postseason, because right now you're still one of the top teams, if not the top team record-wise.
Talk about a fast turnaround time for Richard Omarty. Remember, got released from the Windsor Express about a couple of weeks ago, and now he finds his way back to the NBLC with the Moncton Magic, playing his first game against his former team.
Mm-hmm.
As he finds a way, what a pass inside. But the question is, will Nick Evans get the credit for the basket?
I think he might have been the one that actually slammed it down to finish that box with no one there to box out.
Jones switching in midair, and he gets the shot to go.
Wouldn't be surprised if we see Evans be the focus again on offense, because he has been waking up and being the leader basically on offense for much of the second half.
Gentry Thomas with the fall away, no good. Here's Griffiths going one-on-one against Evans, fights through everybody, and it will be Moncton ball.
And that time, I think it was just a block that just landed on top of Griffiths instead in an awkward bounce. Sometimes you need to have luck, and sometimes that the luck is going the opposite directions. Speechless.
Absolutely. Quick fake, the shot, no good. As you hear the air ball chants from the WFCU Center.
And believe it or not, I think that was one of the first shots. In fact, it was just the third shot from the field that we've seen from Jason Callista all night.
Patillo tries to get the lob, but can't. That leaves Tate to pick it up. 9 on the shot clock. Tate to Otley Jr. 3 on the shot clock. Here's Jones. He'll have to fire it up. He'll miss it. And Wayne McCulloch with the rebound. Jason Callist with the ball. Passes it right back down to McCulloch. Callist loses control of the ball. Here's Otley Jr., and it's showtime for Otley Jr.
And he has not been on a rhythm tonight. 0 for 3. Good hustle, but again, just not on par tonight after what was a throwing game last night.
Thomas, breaks through everybody and slams it down. Nifty move from Gentry Thomas. I think we've seen a similar play like that in their first game against the Hurricanes, where we put somebody on a poster to open up 2018-19. Patillo gets the step on Evans and the bucket.
And another good move in the post this time from Patillo. And when Patillo is consistent and can get himself together for a good stretch of games, he is deadly at that portion of the floor.
That'll go back to Moncton as it hit one of the Express players' hands. As you take a look at Evans and Patillo. Patillo slaps it away, but Evans is there to pick it back up. Here's Wayne McCulloch, and he will get fouled by Griffiths.
And that was, I think, you seen Griffiths reach into the cookie jar, and that ended up bringing too much momentum towards McCulloch to bring him down to the floor. And now McCulloch not going to go to the line because he didn't take the shot quite yet.
They called it on the floor, as Ryan Anderson will come back into the game. So this is the moment where you said Anderson would usually warm up.
Mm-hmm. I wouldn't be surprised if we see him try and warm up already, trying to strip the ball away.
Good triple threat movement. And it's poked away by Anderson. Here's Jones. He has 15. The shot's no good.
And that was good execution on the last defensive set for Anderson, though.
Gentry Thomas will get fouled, but he'll mostly go to the line.
Yeah, now Thomas is starting to get a lot of touches here and draw a lot of fouls to guys like Tate. The good thing is Tate has been one of the players for the Express that have not been in foul trouble at all much of the night tonight.
That's right. Tate has 2 fouls. Same with Juan Patillo, Chris Jones. But there are 2 players with only 1 foul, and that's Daniel Dooley and Anthony Otley Jr.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, on the other hand, players are in foul troubles for both teams right now. DeAndre Thomas with 3 fouls. Horace Wormley with 3. Over at the Moncton Magic end, Denzel Taylor is out of the game. He fouled out. Nick Evans with 4. Corey Allman and Gentry Thomas with 3.
And don't forget Luke Cochran as well, also with 3 fouls as well for the Windsor Express.
That's one of the main reasons why they've been playing small ball as of late. As Patillo gets the step and slams it down. Juan Patillo flying right in and jams it with the two hands.
Great play from Patillo. Faked the pass to the right and made Evans think it was going that direction. When he wasn't looking, just drove it on by like he was standing still in the middle of a train track.
And right down there, Patillo with the rebound. Here's Tate, him against the world, and he'll get stripped, and he will get fouled by Amarty. And if that is the case, that'll be Amarty's third foul of the night.
And the way this game has gone, I think it's just been difficult for especially Moncton now in the second half to just maintain a flow here because there has been a mix of bad shots, lack of energy at times in this game until Evans, of course, poster that we've talked about. And just now this busy stretch because you got a back-to-back with the game in overtime yesterday, down the 401, and what is a 3-hour drive minimum from London to Windsor. Plus, on top of that, have to go to KW after this, then go back out to the Atlantic Coast and don't even play home until January the 18th.
Well,
it takes a lot of energy out of you, I think, a road trip like this overall.
Well, it's rough, and you and I have been doing these games for about 4 years now. We know how difficult it is when one team goes from one coast to another. As Patillo knocks down the J, it will take the air out of you, and therefore you would have to make those roster adjustments if you have seasoned players, if you have new players. And right down on the floor, Joe Salermo will take the timeout.
And Windsor's just been able to take advantage of that exhaustion tonight. Again, pulling away now by 18. And this is where, if you don't have the proper conditioning, and this is what hurt Windsor for the first month and a half of the season, you will fall apart in the second half each time. That's what happened with Windsor. That's what's been happening here tonight with Moncton with their game after keeping it close for a majority of the first half. When you are having as many games as they've been playing, it's hard to keep that energy, intensity level that you want to play for a full 48 minutes. And unfortunately, Moncton's just not had that tonight, but there's still a ways to go.
And keep in mind, too, the Express more or less looked like the underdog coming into the game to today's game. But if you look at the stats on paper, that didn't look to be the case, because listen to the matchup between Windsor and London. Windsor, third points per game, third from the field goal, second from beyond the arc, first in the free throw line, ninth in rebounds per game, and ninth in assists per game. But if you look at Moncton's stats per game, JP, it's a different story.
Yeah, Moncton, of course, in terms of the overall stats, as you mentioned, 8th in points per game, 6th field goal percentage, 6th three-point percentage, last in free throw percentage. But it's not about statistics. It's about winning games. And the way Salerno has won games over his career has been his ability to coach a team and control a group. This has been a transition kind of period with new players coming in from the middle of the season, going either overseas, dealing with injuries. It's that transition period. Windsor, they've just been able to take advantage of that tonight and live up, I think, to partly a test and partly to being able to have a bit of rest before today's game.
And usually you don't see those type of major adjustments until the middle of February. For the Moncton Magic, they have to go through that. But rest assured, at the end of the day, they still have the best record in the league because of that. And an offensive foul is called, and Joe Salermo not happy with that call down to the far side for him.
Well, it's another misexecution offensively and/or offensive foul. And it's just, they have not been in a rhythm whatsoever offensively tonight. It's hard to do that when you have either a turnover or a whistle on your side called every 10 seconds, and no offense.
Patillo tries to get the step, goes inside, he'll put it up and in. Juan Patillo's just raising the bar here in the second half.
I like how you used that phrase there just now.
To be honest with you, I was unaware of that until now. But hey, raise the bar, guys, as Jinche Thomas misses the shot. But to be honest with you, he has been stepping up here in the second half as he gets the ball again. And he'll bring it back up to the top. He wants the isolation. Offensive foul. Good job by McCulloch.
Yeah, absolutely. Just set the pick, planted his feet, slid across the floor. Just trademark charge, drawn on. And now they need to just break any kind of momentum Windsor's got. There's still 6 minutes to go. We've seen bigger leads collapse in less time than this. There's still a lot that can happen.
Allman one-on-one against Anderson, gets the grapevine pass, and Nick Evans again puts the sledgehammer to the basket.
And they just keep on feeding the ball. He had very little points, now at the 12-6 on the game, and has kept him out of foul trouble this for much of the second half. Keep feeding him the ball because now Windsor is trying to stay away from him to stay out of foul trouble themselves.
Patillo, backside, no good. Third chance, misses it. And McCulloch picks up the rebound. There'll be a foul as they pass the timeline.
Express foul, number 2, DeAndre Thomas.
And now Thomas is in foul trouble with his fourth just because of that.
99-81. 5:15 remaining in the fourth. As once again, the Express can't afford to be careless right now because Moncton has shown time and again that they could be very ruthless in the fourth quarter. They find the right guys, and that time it goes for Gentre Thomas. Well, it goes to Duke Mondi,
yes.
My mistake.
Yes, but either way, that was some good passing again. That was what worked for them in the first half. I'm surprised they haven't gone as much to spreading the floor like that in the second.
Anderson stuck in the baseline, misses the reverse.
And this is what Moncton needed, some misses from Windsor to take back the momentum.
Mondi over to McCulloch, the corner three, no good. And Early will step down for the rebound.
That was a case of too open. Just took good hesitation on the shot, thought that, and they just challenged him, puts it up.
And another offensive foul. Once again, kudos to the Moncton Magic getting the position.
I'm really impressed with the defense now from McCullough now. Second straight charge drawn. Just like that. He's really stepping up in terms of on-ball defense in this fourth quarter.
I gotta admit, most of these Moncton Magic players, we've known them for a long time, but these newcomers just keep on going in as McCullough gets the 2 to go. And it's now a 13-point game. Alley-oop to Patillo.
And that's the case of catching the defense sleeping. Seeing that Patillo was wide open down low, both of them make the head gesture and off they go to try and retake the energy in this game.
And once again, these are the types of fouls that will help Moncton go back to the line because they've been taking care of business in terms of free throws. But they were going to have to wait for one more foul before they automatically go to the line.
I have to say, the main... And now Wormley in foul trouble, but I have to say with Moncton, they've kept out of foul trouble for this fourth quarter, just 3 team fouls in the quarter.
And the shot is no good, and Patillo's there for the rebound. And a quick steal, McCulloch flies in and gets the 2.
And Windsor's got to do some adjustments here. They were looking good to be able to get the run, taking advantage of some of the fatigue earlier. Now they're starting to make sloppy mistakes.
And it's taken away by McCulloch again, and he'll get fouled by Ryan Anderson. The basket won't count. But now you see Wayne McCulloch stepping up.
McCullough's just absolutely taking control on defense now. Well, Evans was the one who was keeping this somewhat decent of a distance. McCulloch now with the on-ball defense. Multiple charges drawn, multiple steals now. And something that I think that was lacking for a lot of the time, and in a reason they needed him for this kind of game with a game-time decision. Absolutely huge for a player like him for how they've been performing with the former NAPB player from the Rochester Razorbacks.
Wayne McCulloch, 77% from the free throw line. This is his 3rd year in the NBLC. Played for the Island Storm from 2016 to 2018. So he knows a thing or two about Joe Salermo's system.
And he also had 3 steals in that overtime game last night, too. So he can be a clutch defender, I think, as well. Absolutely can be a clutch defender, I should say. But again, another N1. This time, Mundy called for the foul. Pardon me, no, for N1.
So Mundy will pick up the foul. That's only Magic's 4th team foul. Anderson misses the 3, and here is Wayne McCullough again. Under 3 to go in the 4th. Remember, no lead is safe. Bullet pass, goes right back out over. The quick 3, good.
And here comes Moncton.
Well, if you're ready for a fight, you have to put your dukes up, and Duke Mondi knocks down the 3, and it's an 8-point game. Here's Thomas from the free throw line. Got it.
And this can still go either way. But I think at this point, it's taking advantage of Windsor's making the mistakes and just chipping away now. That may be a cliche at this point, but at this point, that's what you have to do. And that's what Moncton's been doing now, chipping away and taking advantage of whenever Windsor has been making mistakes. And when they have fouls like Wormley now, that just put Moncton into the bonus.
Yep, Horace Wormley with the quick foul off the inbounds. We got a quick update from the Sudbury 5 London Lightning game. The 5 redeems himself and pulls up a 129-124 victory over the London Lightning. Will Font win for the Sudbury 5. Because remember, the last time these two teams met this past Sunday, and that went down to the wire, but it was London who took that game. Now Sudbury, 5 days later, gaining revenge.
And of course, finishing that one, too, in terms of just 4-point advantage in the end for London in the quarter, but it was still not enough.
So that brings all the attention to us now, because this is the only game in town. Patillo with the sledgehammer! Holy cow!
Well, there's your soul crusher.
And a steal by Anderson.
And Anderson doing exactly what he did when he came on the floor. Seeing that someone's dribbling high up, leaving the ball wide open, able to strip it away to get this game now to potentially a dagger, but now blowing it possibility.
Evans with the steal, behind the back pass from Mondi, and finds an easy look for Nick Evans. Well, that's one way to get back into it.
Yeah. No lead is safe now officially, as many people will probably say. No lead is safe whatsoever, and it looks like Anderson having to go to the bench now.
Well, no lead is safe, and nobody's earbuds are safe either. With quick apologies to our producer, Tate Harris, tonight.
And a quick apology to everyone's computer speakers as well.
I will pay for them. I will pay for the speakers. As Wormley tries to go inside the drive, and he misses it. Mondi with the ball. Finds an open Jason Callist. Or Jason Callist for 3.
Yeah. Been ice cold most of the night tonight. Finally makes something, and it's a huge shot. Now, Windsor's got to calm down.
And they have no choice but to. We're under a minute into this one. 105-100. Thomas backs down, fires it, misses it, and it opens an opportunity for Moncton. The shot's no good. Heartbreak Hotel as the Express get the ball back.
Great contest from Wormley. That forced the miss from behind, and that could be the defensive stop of the game.
Patillo racing down. The Magic have to foul here. 5 on the shot clock. Jones goes inside. He misses it. The putback by Thomas. He'll go to the line.
And I think that might be the better option either way, but still must make these free throws. But a lot of players hitting the floor hard, including Jones on that play. And now Jones going off to the bench, unfortunately, here, Aaron.
Yes, the trainers tending to Chris Jones right now. There was a very awkward situation right down low. 19.9 seconds remaining in the fourth quarter. DeAndre Thomas knocks down the first free throw. It's a 2-possession game. This game pretty much had everything here in the second half because it almost looked pretty even at halftime despite Windsor with the lead. And now they're up 7, and it's a quick timeout by Joe Salerno. We will keep it right here.
Well, as you said, no lead is safe. And for Moncton, just took it, finally got something together in terms of a comeback. The second Windsor started showing some cracks. I think Joe Salerno and the rest of the team just noticed and said, we got to take advantage. Those 5 quick points, I think, really changed, especially about the 5 minute to go mark, was what really started this chip away movement to come back into this game. Now the main key thing is, can Windsor make a big defensive stop? Their defense has started to crumble now in these coming to the final 20 seconds. If they don't lock down a player like Almond or deal with a player like Evans down low or McCullough down up on the perimeter, who's been getting a lot of touches in the past couple minutes.
And keep in mind, too, you give it in the hands of Wayne McCullough, he could deliver clutch situations like he did last night.
Exactly. That could be a huge opportunity. The thing is, Windsor, especially Ryan Anderson, has been able to swipe away a lot of shots, but it looks like they're going to put Daniel Dooley onto the floor along with Anderson here for the matchup and go small ball for this defensive set, knowing that Moncton's got their three-point shooters on the floor here.
And if there's anybody that needs to warm up now from beyond the arc, it has to be Jason Caliste. He was ice cold last night, only scoring, well, didn't score at all, 0 for 6 from the field. The inbounds pass goes into Evans, and he'll get the quick 2.
You can afford to give that up. You just got to get the quick whistle.
And they will get the quick whistle as Corey Allman fouls Horace Wormley. And that is not somebody you want to foul. 93% from the free throw line.
They're not in the bonus yet. They still got one more to give here on your end. So they got to foul again. Now watch them try and go for the full court press on the inbound.
That is right. And it gets batted away. It'll stay Windsor way. 14 3/10 remaining in the fourth.
And it looks like they wanted to keep away from foul trouble there. And now Windsor wants to advance the ball off, I think, to half court here with the timeout.
Absolutely. That is one of the new rules in the NBLC this year. But 107 to 102. What do you do if you're the Magic now? Because, again, if they find some way to break that full court pressure, this game might be over, considering who you foul.
The full court trap worked on the first inbound, but on this inbound, they don't have enough time. There's 14.3 seconds left. I think you have to foul immediately and hope for at least one miss. And if you do get that miss, you still have at least one time on the bank on. From there, you have to hope for a quick shot. If you are able to force a turnover and try and get the possession back to try and get this to a single possession game, then things could all break out. I can see someone like them try and go in the fast break quickly and go for the quick 2 and then try and get a quick foul or take advantage of Windsor on a quick rush inbound situation or inbound set. This could go either way at this point with the way that last inbound worked. But again, it's all about who this goes to. Could see it going to Wormley, but I can see Moncton trying to push it to someone like, say, Thomas for the intentional foul.
Absolutely, because keep in mind, Thomas is in foul trouble, too, with 4 fouls. Horace Wormley has 5. But you got to keep in mind, too, if you're Moncton, you don't want Nick Evans to foul, too, because that would put him with 5. So as you can see him, he's going to guard Anderson on the inbound pass. 14 seconds. Otley Jr. will drive, will get fouled.
And I don't think that's who Windsor might have wanted there. That looked like the third option on the inbound. And now you got a player that came in tonight 83% from the stripe. has already missed at least one so far tonight for Windsor.
Yep, keep in mind Anthony Otley Jr.
In fact, one for four, I should say.
1 of 4, that's right. And he knocks down the first free throw. 2-possession game still, 11.8 seconds. He misses it. Will it be a lane violation? It will be. It will be Moncton's ball, and Joe Salerno will talk it over.
So Joe Salerno got what he wanted, the 1 for 2 at the line, but now you got to have the proper play here. If you do not make the shot, I think this game is done. I think the only option is to go for 3. Go for 3 or end up trying to draw a foul and get it somehow a 4-point play or 3 free throws or go get to the line. Otherwise, this game might be done.
Well, keep in mind too, the Magic have not fared well from 3-point land here tonight, except for Nick Evans, who surprisingly 1 for 2 from beyond the arc. Duke Mondi 4 of 5, but you have Corey Allman, who's 4 of 9. Jason Caliste scoring his only 3 points from beyond the arc, but he's 1 of 6.
But still 15 combined triples on 37 attempts, which is a lot, of course, but how the game is trending. But this still has to be the right, if you do not get your first or second option, you gotta hope that you get the play down low, maybe to Evans, and get a layup. I can still see this going to Allman as the first option. Option number 2, maybe go to Mundy, because he's been starting to heat up a little bit in this 4th quarter. If you can't get it to those 2, get it down low for the quick bucket, because you cannot afford, I think, to waste more than 6 seconds on the set. Maybe at the most.
Well, we'll see how this plays. Mondi with the inbounds pass. Quick outside. Allman misses the 3. Wormley with the rebound. And Tate will put the icing on the cake. So the Magic will hold on to it, and the Express will win this one. The Express will go to 5-7. The Magic will drop to 12-5. They lost 5 of their last 7 with a final score of 110-102.
And 3 straight victories, too, for the Windsor Express. They're starting to get some things together here, but it was a mixture tonight of being able to take advantage of what was a rough second quarter and part 3rd quarter for Moncton, as well as control much of the momentum in this grinded out defensive kind of style game, slower tempo game. In the end, Windsor now just 2 games below 500.
Absolutely a 3-game winning streak for the Express. And we'll pause and we'll come back for the post game right after these messages.
Journalism enables people to be well informed. It's documenting history. It's an extraordinary way for people to be connected with their community.
What happens in the world affects us. What happens in our community affects us. What happens in the province affects us. And we get to be the eyes and ears and tell the stories. There are many stories that need to be told, and those things add value to our life.
It's neat to know that so many people are relying on me. It makes you strive for perfection, or makes you strive for accuracy.
The journalism program here at St. Clair College is a convergence journalism program. Convergence means the merging together of print, radio, and television, and the web, and putting all different stories into 3 or 4 different platforms.
I can go out now and I can understand how to write a print. I know how to do social media. I can shoot a video. So you start to trust yourself and to use your journalistic skills.
In 21st century newsrooms, journalists have to be able to do it all.
We ask every one of our reporters to tell stories in multiple ways.
There's a different style of writing for print than there is for radio, than there is for television. And it's really important that the information gets out that is true to those platforms.
We are one of the few, if not the only, program that is actually taking students to a live broadcast and giving them that opportunity and that experience.
I want to be a journalist because I think I like to listen other stories.
午间好，这里是媒体综合新闻节目，我是谭一丹，欢迎收看。
I find that the students that come out of St. Clair College are already at or above where some of our broadcast employees have been over the last several years.
I feel that I made the greatest decision I could by choosing this program because I have learned so much, and I think that I can only grow from here.
I would hands down recommend the program to someone considering it. I would recommend it to someone that's not even considering it. They teach you such a vast array of different skills, different platforms, different things that you could really apply to so many different careers.
Based on literally hundreds of interns I've seen over the years, St. Clair students are better prepared to go into the work environment in media than most students coming out of colleges and universities across North America.
I think it's that very comprehensive curriculum that we have that creates converged journalists that sets this journalism school apart.
And welcome back to the WFCU Center, where the Windsor Express win 3 in a row with a final score of 110-102 against the Moncton Magic. We're back up here in the media booth. I'm Aaron Sanders, that's JP, Justin Prince, and who would have thought we would be graced by such a great game here tonight. I think the second half really did it for the Windsor Express. Juan Patillo leading the way with 25 points.
Yeah.
It was a good game up and down. A little bit of, tough moments and awkward moments throughout the way, but the Windsor Express held their own.
Yeah, it felt like a very methodical game, I have to say, in the first 2.5 quarters. But really, from the point of the Nick Evans posterizing dunk, I think both teams woke up. The thing is, it woke up Windsor more than it did Moncton at that point of the game, to where they were able to just take advantage of Moncton's mistakes on offense in terms of fouls, in terms of turnovers, and just pull it away. And in the end, just too much of a distance to try and overcome, despite what was a good comeback, really, in the final 6 minutes from Moncton.
Corey Allman led scoring for the Moncton Magic with 22 points. Nothing surprising over there, but once he gets that hot start, you can't stop him.
Yeah, but as you said, 22 points, that's the thing. He had just 3 in the second half, really. The thing is, they had players like Evans, like McCullough step up, whether it was on the stat sheet in terms of Evans offensively, in terms of rebounding as well, or McCullough in terms of getting steals, drawing charges, and stepping up on on-ball defense in the clutch. So multiple players were starting to step up when he started slowing down. The thing is, the offense couldn't keep on enough pace, I think, to try and get a lead right on back as much as they tried, as much as they got within 5.
Unfortunately, it's a little bit disappointing to see the Moncton Magic drop now 2 in a row like this, but keep in mind, 2 hard-fought games. They had to come in here after losing to London in overtime, but they put on a good display for everybody to see. So they can't hang their heads down on this game, but rest assured, there's got to be some improvements along the way.
I don't think they're going to have their heads down much at all. There's still a lot to improve on, of course, but again, as I've said a couple different times, a lot of players coming in, bit of transition, trying to get players used to coming in. And they're in the midst of a road trip, mind you, with a lot of these moves at the same time. So it's not as simple as, okay, let's rent out the arena and go that we're going to play at next and have a full-on practice for a week straight. There's not that much time, so to speak. You have to go through the run-throughs, yes, shoot-arounds, I should say, and some of the warm-ups, but there's still time to work things together. It's about, can they get back to where they were at the start of the season with the players they had then, with the new group that they have now for the rest of the season, especially February, March, when a lot of the playoff seeding and a lot of the momentum tries to carry over into April, May, June to try and win a championship.
When you look back at the Windsor Express, too, Chris Jones had a stellar performance, too, but I think the underdog here tonight was Tyrell Tate.
Yes, I think so. Had a quiet first half somewhat statistically, but was really stepping up more and more as the game went on, whether it's defensively, whether it's in terms of passing especially, because he had some big passes, giving the extra looks, leading the fast break, really. And that's when I think Windsor started to get more consistent offensively. While they were shooting at a high field goal percentage, it wasn't really consistent shooting. It was like miss a shot, make a shot. Once Tate really set the tempo and got those 16 points along with the 5 rebounds, along with the assist that was given off to Anderson,
that's when I think they turned things around and the passing started to wake up a little bit, and that's led, of course, to that 20-point lead.
And pretty much, too, but keep in mind the Windsor Express, they can't sleep that much because they're on the road to play against the KW Titans tomorrow night. So quick turnaround time for them, but as for the Moncton Magic, their next opponent is over at KW, too. So a lot to take in, but if you're the Windsor Express, what are some keys you got to improve on, and what do you have to tighten up on?
I think some of the keys you have to improve on, first off, just while the shooting was there, just the way the game was defensively tonight just was not there. I think if they leave as many shooters as they did tonight in Moncton in some cases, especially on the perimeter, they're going to have the doors blown open. If they have an arc collapse similar to that, going from 20 points to 5 points in the span of about 4.5 minutes, KW might jump on them. So I think they have to make sure they keep in mind conditioning, consistency, and defense, because the offense was pretty much around a B average tonight.
Okay, absolutely. So the Moncton Magic, they'll wait for a couple days until they play against the KW Titans, but the Windsor Express will be on the road tomorrow to play against the Titans over at the Auditorium, so that's where we will leave you. But our next home game will be this Wednesday, as the Windsor Express will host the Cape Breton Highlanders, a team that I am pretty interested to see, and after what has transpired over the last 24, 48 hours.
I've been kind of intrigued to call a game with them too, because as before the movement, they were probably the most red-hot team in the NBLC at the time. Of course, coming off the Coach of the Month situation, coming off performances like Bruce Massey, coming off Player of the Week and a potential MVP candidate. Now, we're going to see how they can adjust to that. They're going to have time, of course, until then, but still, I'm curious to see how that matchup goes, because I think that while it may on paper not look like it might be a close game, I think it could come down to the wire in terms of those two teams, especially with how good of a coaching staff is down there this season that's been helping them a lot in these kind of situations with Cape Breton.
Well, if you're curious like we are, tune in at 6:50 p.m. on Wednesday. We'll have the pregame show for you then, and the tip-off will be at 7 p.m. So that's when we will see you the next time around. But for now, the final score, the Windsor Express 110, the Moncton Magic 102. We thank all of you for tuning in. Have a great weekend, and we will see you on Wednesday. But until then, for the entire crew here at St. Clair College and for JP Justin Prince, this be Aaron Sanders saying so long from the Rose City.
Express basketball on the Windsor Express Network.